It's the night football teams get better.
The 13-time world champion, Green Bay Packers.
It's the night fans get excited about their team's future.
The Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback.
Presented by the keepers of the craft, Steamfitters Local 601. Learn to be one at steam601.org. Let's get to the hosts of the show, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and Charlie Usen.
All right, here we go. Green Bay Football Draft Show. Brought to you by Steamfitters Local 601. Thank you so much for being a sponsor of this show. Roger Goodell is walking up to the podium and get things going here for rounds 2 and 3. They already showed on ESPN Zachariah Branch doing hugs and everything else with his family. So I don't know what's going on there. Wide receiver from Georgia. So we'll see if that ends up being the pick of the San Francisco 49ers or not. That would make sense if they were to go Zachariah Branch, kick things off here for the San Francisco 49ers. Coming up on this show, Brandon Sneide. He'll join us coming up in the second segment of the show. Give us his thoughts on what he would like to see available there for the Green Bay Packers coming up at pick 52 here in the second round. Now, again, we'll start off with pick 33 in the Niners. That'll be followed up by the Cardinals, the Bills, the Raiders, and the Giants, the first 5 picks. Now, also remember that yesterday, they really shortened down the draft time for in between, each pick down to, what was it, 8 minutes. That thing got done in under 3 hours.
It flew by, man. It was crazy.
Can I just say something? Brandon Sneide was talking about how fast it was, and it was almost too fast. Andy Herman from the Pack a Day podcast, who I love to death, also was complaining about the same thing because they're doing like a live show and they're trying to keep up and talk about it and so forth. From somebody that didn't have to do a show last night, that was sitting at home chilling on his couch, not having to worry about anything, man, that was perfect. I got absolutely no complaints about that whatsoever. Like, there is no reason why one round should take over 3 hours, especially now having been there last year in Green Bay, being packed in there like a sardine as is. I mean, they're doing an overhead shot right now, and it's packed just like it was last night in Pittsburgh. Imagine being in that crowd and going, oh, man, I really got to go to the bathroom. You imagine that? You imagine having to get out of that and then find your way back to whoever you're standing with in order to make that work?
Yeah, no, I'm okay.
Now, they are putting up 7 minutes for every round here in round 2. They should move that. They should have taken 2 minutes off of that too. They should have made that 6 minutes.
Like on day 2, day 3, in my mind, you should kind of know exactly more so what you're looking for. Like day 1, I get it if guys fall, but
remember, you also are going to have way more trades here. You're going to have people moving up and down the draft between rounds 2 and 7. And the later you get in the draft, even more of that begins to happen because teams are like, I don't need 3 seventh round picks. I'm going to trade a couple of these bad boys for something for next year or whatever the case may be. I think that's kind of the reason why, you have still longer time. Now, again, best available according to Kuiper, Denzel Boston, wide receiver from Washington. I thought even a first-round pick. Zion Young, the edge from Missouri. C.J. Allen, the linebacker from Georgia. Jermai McCoy, who's got some injury issues, cornerback from Tennessee. Now, again, if he wasn't hurt, he probably would have been a top 10, top 15 pick at this point. I don't think the Green Bay Packers are going to trade up because our guy Brian Gutekunst already said last night he's not trading picks next year to move up this year. So based on that, and you only have limited amount of picks this year, he likes to be around 10, 11 picks. I think the chances are much greater that he ends up moving back before he moves up here.
Well, and that just seems like kind of the best decision for the Packers, the way the board has shaken out so far after the first round. It just feels like the positions that you are going to need, defensive tackle, cornerback, a lot of the guys that are up at the top of the board in those positions don't really seem like players that are meant for the Green Bay Packers. I think you can trade back and find guys that are at the same positions that feel more Green Bay Packery, if that's a thing,
Packery.
There's something to that, and there's something to the way they draft,
words.
Man.
You come up with some words, man. I give you credit.
Call me the thesaurus.
Yeah, you come up with some words for sure. Also, there is a rumbling and a rumor floating around about Kayvon Thibodeaux, the New York Giants, and the Giants apparently are shopping Thibodeaux, the pass rusher, defensive lineman, out there. Now, he has 1 year left on his deal, does Kayvon Thibodeau, and that number right now sits at $14.75 million. Last year of his deal, it's a club option. Whoever trades for him obviously is picking that up. And I would imagine whoever trades for him then will try to extend him to keep him. Now, the Saints are one of the teams that are being rumored out there to be in conversations with the New York Giants. Charlie and I were talking about this earlier. If you're the Green Bay Packers, do you give up a 2 this year, potentially, to get Kayvon Thibodeau and then see if you can sign him? Again, you only got so much money with the salary cap. So if you go get Thibodeau, if that costs you Christian Watson or costs you somebody else, already earlier today, you signed Jayden Reed to a 3-year extension, $50+ million, $20 million of it guaranteed. And it looks like he averaged to be around 16.5, 16.6, somewhere in that area. So Jayden Reed is signed up. You still have to sign Watson. You still have to sign Tucker Kraft as well. Mm-hmm. And at some point, you're going to have to sign Edgerrin Cooper more than likely. So, and then Devontae Wyatt is in the last year of his
If Evan Williams keeps taking steps, you're going to have to pay him eventually too. Like there's a lot of guys that could potentially be getting money for this Packers team. I think if you go in and trade for a Kayvon Thibodeau, you kind of listen to what like Ryan Wood was saying when we were talking about Christian Watson, whereas he could just go out there and have this be a prove-it year for him. Yep. And maybe you, as the Packers, say, Kayvon, Christian, you guys are both proving it. Let's see what you can do. Kind of pit them against each other a little bit.
And that's the other thing you could do, too, is just be like, no, we're going for it. Like, we're not going to sign you in an extension. We're going to come in. We're going to let you play 1 year here, and that'll be it. And we'll give up a 3rd-round pick or a 4th-round pick, essentially, to get you, if we can, to get that done. I just think a team like the Saints, who needs more, at this point, would be willing to give up more to get a long-term pass rusher signed up on that field. I just don't think if I'm Kayvon Thibodeau, I want to go play for the New Orleans Saints at this point.
I mean, I don't know why not. That Saints team, yes, they lost a lot of veteran talent, but that offense in the second half of the season looked really good. Tyler Shough looked really good. And I think that as long as you are seeing some of these teams, you look excited.
Kayvon Thibodeau on Instagram just posted a picture of a dude looking out the window that says goodbye.
All right. Sounds like he is probably done, and there may be a move coming here.
Saying goodbye. That was 14. Well, I don't know how long ago, but Jordan Schultz, NFL Insider, just posted it 4 minutes ago that Thibodeau posted a picture saying goodbye at this point.
Rashawn Gary said goodbye and then stayed on the team for another week, so you never know what's going to happen, I guess.
Absolutely crazy that Thibodeau is going to be out of there. Now it's just a matter of who gets him. The Bears would be an interesting team as they're looking for defensive line help.
Well, and that was one of the teams that was highly rumored for a Max Crosby, for a Trey Hendrickson, when all these guys were available in the offseason. I think that's a team that can be aggressive going through this draft with some of these later round picks, especially after they already used their 1st-round pick for a position of need. If that's a guy that's a position of need and you think he's worth a 2nd-round pick, the Bears so far have shown that they will be aggressive on that.
Green Bay Football Draft Show brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. You can watch us as we live stream this bad boy on X, Instagram Live, and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio, or on Facebook at the Fan Milwaukee's Facebook page, streaming live there too. And of course, you could chime in throughout the process. You want to call in, talk about who you want the Packers to take at 52, or react to some of these teams that are picking between now and 52. Phone lines wide open to talk Packers in the draft. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also leave a comment in the YouTube dugout chat there, whether you're on Instagram or X or YouTube or whatever the case may be. All open to you. Pick is in for the San Francisco 49ers. Again, earlier, Branch, wide receiver from Georgia, when they were starting this, and was like hugging and carrying on the phone at that point. Now, I don't know if he was on the phone with San Francisco or if he just found out some exciting news about some other aspect of his life that he was all excited. But the Branch selection would make some sense here. You got the Cardinals after this, and then the Buffalo Bills at 34 and 35. Now, last year's 1st-round pick missed the entire season. Mikael Williams, their defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers. Wide receiver makes sense to me. There's a bunch of them. But I think you could trade back if you're the Niners and still get a good wide receiver and add more picks if you wanted.
Well, and Brandon Ayuk potentially, most likely, is not going to be on this team. Ricky Pearsall was not able to stay healthy throughout the first 2 years of his career. Yep. Like, this is a position of need for sure.
Yeah, no question. So we'll see what happens here. All right, let's go to the podium and see what we got.
What's up, Pittsburgh?
Andy Lee.
I just want to say it's awesome to be back in my college hometown. It was an honor to play here for 4 years, and I just want to thank the 49ers for this opportunity. I want to give a shout out to the 49er faithful, the best fans in the NFL.
That's not true.
With the 33rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Deshaun Stribling, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
Again, wide receiver was the pick that made the most sense for the San Francisco 49ers coming in. 6'2" and an eighth, about 207 pounds. Now, again, this is a guy that I think the Green Bay Packers would have been fine taking if he would potentially have fallen to him, Charlie.
Would have been fine. Yeah, I guess. I can't get over like you wanting a wide receiver as bad as you want a wide receiver. There's so many other positions that you could go for. If wide receiver is the best available player at your second round pick, trade back. Like in all honesty, there's not many positions otherwise that I would say that to, but if that's the best player available, you need to move back a little bit, especially since there's going to be a lot of teams scrambling for wide receivers, as we've seen already in the first round of the draft so far. We played it earlier on Wisconsin Sports Daily, Mekhi Lemon getting a call from the Steelers and then getting a call from the Eagles immediately afterwards because teams are scrambling for those guys. You should be willing to give up a pick if they're going to give you that type of value.
You want to know something crazy?
What's that?
Green Bay football draft guide, Jacob Westendorf, Jacob Morley, a gigantic wide receiver guy, loves talking about wide receiver. Paul Brettel, all these guys. Do you know, now again, this draft guide that I have here, we printed out the whole thing. This draft guide is put together for the Packers, how they draft, who fits into their mold, and that's how it's ranked. This is not how Kuiper would rank it, obviously. This is not how other teams would rank it. This is simply how they view it for the Packers. Do you know where Stribling was ranked amongst wide receivers in their draft guide? What number?
They go through like all the wide receivers, even if the Packers don't have a super big shot at them. So I would say probably like 4 or 5.
Lower.
8.
Lower.
12.
Lower.
20.
13th.
Oh, yeah, that probably would not have been a good fit for them.
13th. Third round on Stribling. Third round.
I mean, the 49ers must have just loved him. That's the only thing.
A lot of people had Stribling up there.
Yeah, but
I
at
don't
the
think
same time,
I don't know about this high, but they had him up there.
Like, this feels way too high. And the 49ers, when they go for wide receivers, seem to really like those wide receivers. Like, Ricky Pearsall was a little bit of a reach for them. Brandon Ayuk was a little bit of a reach. This guy seems like a reach, too. We'll see what happens.
Weaknesses can be a bit linear at times, likes wiggle within his routes. Much of his yards after the catch come from outrunning defenders. While he should be able to do a lot of that at the NFL level, it would be better to see him force more missed tackles. Most of his weaknesses stem from inconsistency and lapse in focus. For everything he does well, there are times he makes decisions that leave coaches scratching their heads. He is good in contested situations and knows how to get himself in position, but he does not always execute. He has dealt with some injuries and has never been more the complimentary receiver at the college level. How he fits, he says he brings edge and attitude. While he may not become a top option, he has the tools to develop into a high-end wide receiver too if he cleans up inconsistencies. Little he cannot do, the type of player teams may revisit in hindsight and question why he fell in the draft. Jacob Morley probably is like, holy crap, how did he go as the first pick in the second round? And the player comp is Terry McLaurin.
All right, that's a good player comp. I think they're very generous with a lot of their player comps, especially compared to some of the other ones that I've seen just for this NFL draft. A lot of guys being very critical. They seem generous on that. When you have that low of a grade on him, I don't know if he reaches that ceiling.
The Cardinals take Chase Bisontis, a guard out of Texas A&M. I don't really care about Bisontis and Texas A&M or the Cardinals. We'll hear from a guy I do care about because you never know what he's going to say next. Brandon Snide from 9 to noon will join us coming up next. He'll tell us what he wants the Packers to do coming up tonight at 52. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show presented to you by Steam Fitters, Local 601 right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Welcome back. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601, keepers of the craft. See Sparky Fifer with you, Charlie Hughes, and other side of the glass. Joining us now as we live stream this bad boy on X, YouTube, Instagram Live at WI Sports Radio, on Facebook as well at The Fan Milwaukee. He is Brandon Snide from 9 to noon with Kuhn. His co-host, John Kuhn, will be making the selections for the Packers in rounds 2 and 3. If they suck, we blame him, Brandon.
Yeah, I already gave him a text. I said, what's it going to cost for you to tell me what the pick is? I need to scoop Adam Schefter. So as soon as you get the card, I need John to let me know who the pick is, and hopefully it's a cornerback or defensive lineman for the Packers.
I would guess, my guess is Adam Schefter knows before John Kuhn knows.
I'm going to probably assume you're right.
Before he gets it, the NFL knows what it is because they call it
Twitter might know before. Social media might know before we know.
Right. That's exactly right. Right now, so far in the second round, some interesting stuff here. Deshaun Stribling, I think that's how you say his name, from Ole Miss, went with the first pick to the Niners. My Green Bay Football Draft Guide that I printed out and I'm going off of, Jacob Morley, Westendorf, Paul Brettel, those guys, had him as the 13th ranked receiver in this draft. For the third round, he was the first pick in the second round to the Niners. Chase Besantis from Texas A&M, a guard at 34. TJ Parker, that seems like a reach. An edge from Clemson at 35, waiting to see what the Texans do here. Brandon Snide, if all goes well in your world, what are you hoping for coming up at pick 52?
Well, I think Sparky and Charlie, if you're a Packer fan right now, you're watching this board and you're like, this is really, like, I don't want to jinx it. I'm knocking on wood. This is falling in perfect order right now for Brian Gutekunst and the Green Bay Packers. You add on top of this, you guys, the extension for Jayden Reed, which, by the way, is tremendous value for both parties, for the Packers and for Jayden Reed to get that extension done. So I think you could take receiver out of the equation in round 2, maybe in round 3. We'll see how it falls. I think right now, if I'm Brian Gutekunst, I'm trading back, and I hate to be team trade back, but I think at this point, Avion Terrell is still available. Jermon McCoy is still available. Brandon Cisse, cornerback out of South Carolina, is still available. Colton Hood is still available. That's just cornerbacks. And then you can get down the defensive line with Caden McDonald, obviously.
Hold on. Caden McDonald just went to the Texans. So the only guy left in the green room now hugging his family. I told Charlie I would have been on a plane the hell out of there after last night. There's no chance I'm coming back to be embarrassed again. But he stuck around. Good for him. He is now a Houston Texan, Caden McDonald, the defensive tackle from Ohio State. All right, go down the rest of your list.
Remember Barron Sorrell stuck around for 3 days last year, the Packers edge rusher. He was in round 4, and he stuck around till Saturday. So it was especially to be drafted by the hometown. Well, you still look at defensive tackle, right? Christian Miller's still there. Lee Hunter's still available. I mean, the Big Citrus, Dominique Orange is still available. Like, this is really fallen in a great way for the Green Bay Packers. And we were doing it last night on the Locked On Packers show, that it realistically, like, the first round, the buzz certainly wasn't there. I've talked to people that were fans of other teams, and they're like, yeah, it just felt like it wasn't really there. It certainly feels like there's a little bit more buzz tonight, and I think the Packers could go back a few. There's 8 picks they have this year. Typically, Goody's on average between that 9 to 10 range every year. If you go back, I don't know, let's say to 62, right? You go back 10 picks and you get an extra third or a fourth. Like, I think that's the move to be made for the Green Bay Packers. But if you want a cornerback or a defensive tackle at 52, let's say they stay put at number 52, there are so many options for the Green Bay Packers. Zion Young is an edge rusher. I don't know, Sparky and Charlie, if the Packers would go edge, because I think obviously they poured in not only a ton of money to Micah Parsons, but also the draft capital last year on Colin Oliver and Barron Sorrell as well. But if Zion Young falls down to 52, like that's got to be a discussion for the Green Bay Packers. I think Goody right now is smiling right now on how this draft board has fallen for the Green Bay Packers. I'll take any one of those 4 cornerbacks that I named off that I would take right now if I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. Obviously, it's a position of need, but the talent there, Jermon McCoy and Colton Hood still available. McCoy, on some big boards, you guys, was top 25, and he's still there, a couple picks into round 2. That would obviously be the dream. Now, I know there's some injury concerns, going forward with him. But I right now, the board for the Packers could not have shaping up to be any better.
That McDonald pick by the Texans made a trade to take that Raiders pick to move up. The reason they went up, according to Jordan Schultz, at least NFL Insider, was they were scared the Giants at 37 were going to take him because they moved on from Dexter Lawrence. So there was concern that he was definitely going to the Giants. That's why they move up to make that pick and that selection. There's another rumor floating around right now, and it looks to be confirmed by the player that is being rumored about. Kayvon Thibodeau of the Giants on Instagram said goodbye with this thing, and he has 1 year left on his deal. Several teams in talks apparently to get him, the Saints being one of them. If you look at Thibodeau's contract right now, Brandon Snide, $14.75 million cap hit this year. It's a club option. Then he's a free agent. Would you, Brandon Snide, be interested in extending one Kayvon Thibodeau and giving up, say, 52 and whatever else it may be, may just be 52, I don't know, in order to bring Thibodeau in to pair him with Micah Parsons?
No, not really. There's really no interest there. It wasn't big out of him coming out of college. I know he was a top 5 pick. Not somebody I would be interested in. I'm on the Barron Sorrell bandwagon, so it's probably I should take my answer with a little bit of a grain of salt here. I think Barron Sorrell is going to have, when he's given those opportunities going into this year, I think is going to play an impactful role for the Green Bay Packers alongside Micah Parsons when he does return. I also think Colin Oliver is somebody that they're going to be, have a lot of trust in going forward. And we saw just a little bit out of those two when they played the Vikings in that, that essentially was a preseason game to end the regular season before the playoff game. So I would have no interest right now in Thibodeau if I'm Brian Gutekunst and the Green Bay Packers. Again, how the board has fallen in your favor, I think if you really wanted to, if you're looking at an edge rusher and you're like, man, we really could go up. You got Howell out of Texas A&M and Zion Young out of Missouri still on the board. I think that would be a way to go instead of giving up whatever the draft capital or player capital would be in order to go up and take Thibodeau from the New York Giants. I'll also say this, and I know this isn't a popular answer amongst Packer fans. Before the foot injury, which also happened on a sack, LVN was off to his best start of his young career. I would not write off LVN just yet.
I'm done.
I know a lot of Packer fans are there.
Oh.
But but you got to give him a full season with Micah Parsons, right? You got to give him a little bit.
No, I'd trade him tonight. If somebody would give me a 5 or a 6, he'd be gone. I have no interest. And furthermore, how much of the Barron Sorrell and Oliver Love is because Micah Parsons has been working out with these two? I feel like the hype train on both of these cats is because everybody sees them hanging out with Micah Parsons and doing their deal. That's what I think.
Well, they were a 4th and 5th round pick just a year ago, Sparky. They didn't have many snaps. The reason you trade away
Oliver was hurt.
Oh, and then Colton Hood, not to break the news, but Colton Hood headed to the Giants. So there goes the dream of Colton Hood potentially lining up at outside corner for the Green Bay Packers, which I'm not shocked that he went early in round 2. But you drafted Sorrell and Oliver with the 4th and 5th round pick. It would be rare for Goody to give up on a draft pick a calendar year into their career.
No, time out. I'm not saying that he's going to cut anybody or trade anybody. What I'm saying is you're telling me you're on the train of, I think these two guys could do something. And what I'm saying in response to that is a lot of people on social media are on the hype train because Micah Parsons keeps posting that he's hanging out with these two, that he's working out with these two. So because Micah is working out with both of these guys, I think Packer fans are getting all excited like, well, Micah's working out with them. They're going to be way better this year, and we're going to be off to the races. More than saying, okay, I know what they did in college. I know who they are. I don't know necessarily, even with Micah working out with them, if they're going to be that good.
No, and I get that, right? There's obviously the unknown, right? They haven't proven it, but what is Thibodeau proven in a few years he's been in the National Football League that would be you'd be comfortable giving up draft capital and or players for? I would rather ride it out. And we've seen a glimpse of those guys. They didn't have many opportunities last year, right? Like they had essentially that one game against the Vikings, and Barron Sorrell, did more in that game than Rashawn Gary did from Halloween through Christmas. I think they think very highly of Barron Sorrell. I know they think very highly of him. They'll tell you that, they're expecting big things out of him, the big jump. He performed at a big school. He was productive at a big school. So again, Colin Oliver, they're two different too. I think that's the cool thing about those two guys. They're two different
Oliver's
types.
Smaller.
two different types of pass rushers. Barron Sorrell, more of a power, and then Colin Oliver, more of a speed. So I think they complement each other very well. And I think for the Packers right now, you're looking at, obviously you have Micah Parsons. The other question would be, until he gets back, who is going to be that pass rusher? Where is that pass rush going to come from? But for me, Kayvon Thibodeaux is not somebody that I'd be interested to dip in my toes into bringing into Green Bay. Certainly when you only have 8 picks this season, would likely cost a few more. I don't know if they'd be willing to dip into 2027. Now, Brian Gutekunst did say they have the flexibility if they want to move up or, make a move, that they have trade capital next season. But no, if I'm Goody, I'm staying away from that one.
Brandon Snide joins us from 9 to noon with John Kuhn, waiting on John Kuhn to make the Packers selection at 52. We're still 14 picks away there. Plus, John will make the selection in the 3rd round. He is in Pittsburgh. Tommy in Dallas, using the Nicolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250, says, way to put the jinx on, Brandon. Here comes the cornerback run. Way to go. I mean, you've been on for
I was going to say plead the 5th, Brandon.
Plead the 5th. There we go.
I mean, you guys know this, though. Okay, like, it was going to eventually happen. Like, these guys are not going to sit around forever on the board.
Traded Stuk, safety from Arizona. He goes. That's 2 DBs in a row.
That's a safety, though. So we'll take that. We'll take a safety. You got Kansas City in there. I doubt they're going to take a safety, right? Because they are a cornerback, because they just drafted one in round 1. So I don't think you're going to see that out of Kansas City. I don't know what the rest of this looks like. The Lions, I don't think, are going to be in the cornerback market. They've spent some capital in the cornerback market, but this is still shake. If you can't get a cornerback in round 2, Julian Neal is somebody out of Arkansas you can still get in the 3rd round potentially, right? And go to the defensive line in round 2 if you stay at 52. Or you can't. The Packers do have a lot of draft capital next year. They could potentially slide up if they're able to flex some of that next year. There's a lot of different options, but if I'm Goody, I'm trading back and getting, if I can, an extra 3rd or 4th.
Goody last night said he's not trading his picks next year for moving up tonight, or tomorrow for that matter. So I don't think that's a possibility. He could have lied to us. Obviously, that happens.
It's happened before.
But absolutely. I'm not as locked on to getting a corner. I don't need a corner today or tomorrow. I don't necessarily think. I'm not. Yeah. I'll tell you what I want. I want big fat guys. That's what I want. So you go get me a couple of big fat defensive linemen or an interior offensive lineman and a nose tackle. If I get those 2 things today, I feel okay about that. I think wide receiver still is a possibility at some point today.
You think that's a possibility? You think that's a possibility now with the Jaden Reed? They're going to extend Christian Watson, they're already paying Matthew Golden. Goody, I know he's lied to us before, and you mentioned it, but he did point his name out by name at the owners' meeting, saying that's somebody we are prioritizing. I think they got the Jaden Reed extension out of the way, which, by the way, is such a bargain for the Packers. But I think Christian Watson's next. I don't think there's any question.
When that first deal, it broke during our show, and we had Ryan Wood on, and I immediately said, I don't like that deal. That seems like a lot of money for a guy that dropped a lot of balls 2 years ago. And then we went and we looked up to see where that number compares, and that number comes in just under Romeo Doubs' deal. So Doubs is making 17 a year. This is like 16.6 a year, somewhere in that area. So it's right in that ballpark with a lot of other guys, probably with similar skill sets. So we'll see how that all goes out. My thing is this. All these wide receivers that have been linked to the Packers with Brazel and Hurst and some of these other guys, these are all 6'3", 6'4" guys. These are all big wide receivers. Now, it could be that they just want another big, tall receiver because Watson can't stay on the field, and they want somebody like Watson they can play. Or it could be that they're lining up a replacement because they don't think they can get that deal done, and they're going to sign Tucker Kraft instead and potentially let Watson go if a wide receiver they take in round 2 or round 3 tonight were to work out at the end of the day. Now, I don't know. They may not take a wide receiver at all tonight, and none of this is a conversation. But if they go wide receiver in the 2nd round, this is going to be a conversation, Brandon Snide.
Yeah, it certainly will be a conversation. But I still think if they go wide receiver, they could still extend Christian Watson. Like, outside of Christian Watson, you throw Savion Williams out there. They have a couple of undersized guys in Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed, and 2 guys obviously that, Jaden Reed with the freak collarbone injury, but it has proven to be durable. Matthew Golden battled some injuries last year, but in college was durable enough. But this is where I think the Packers have kind of set themselves up for success a little bit. I know everybody didn't like or wasn't crazy about the Benjamin St-Juste signing, although I think he's going to be really good for the Green Bay Packers under Jonathan Gannon. And Javon Hargrave was one of those signings, and you get Devontae Wyatt back, who comes back off that injury. So they're not like, they didn't back themselves into a corner at 52 thinking, well, we have to go this guy or that guy because we have needs at both of those positions. They are in a good spot, I think. That's why I would trade back. But and again, if that means that Ted Hurst is available, let's say the Packers stay at 52 and he's their best player available, you cannot, I'm telling you, the way that the NFL is right now, the way that the game is designed to score points and to do it quickly in a hurry, you give me 6'3" Ted Hurst, 6'4" Christian Watson. Both of those guys one of them's 4'3", the other one's 4'4". Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed, and you sprinkle in Tucker Kraft when he comes back from his injury. You get a healthy Josh Jacobs. You have Jordan Love, who I will always remind people before the concussion was number 3 in MVP odds. So he was having one heck of a career before that concussion occurred for him in Chicago. That's an unstoppable offense. Now, the big question for that is going to be, okay, how's the offensive line shaking out? There's unknowns with Jordan Morgan. We know Aaron Banks didn't live up to year 1 of that contract. Sean Ryan only had 9 games at center. Anthony Belton will go into year 2. Zach Tom, according to Goody, should be good to go. So you feel better about that right tackle position. But outside of that, there's not a ton of weaknesses on that Green Bay Packers offense. But if you get, it's like the rich get richer. Like if you give me a Ted Hurst or a Chris Brazell, who both of those guys the Packers had in for top 30 visits. So I would also keep an eye on who's available soon and who the Packers had visits with. Christian Miller, your guy, you want beef, Sparky? That's a guy with some beef up the middle out of Georgia. Didn't test though, didn't test. So that's usually a factor for Goody and the Green Bay Packers. He did not test at the combine or his pro day. Is that a red flag? Is that something that's going to keep the Packers away? I don't know, but the production at Georgia was one of, if not the best interior defensive lineman.
I know this is going to be in podcast form. Charlie will put it up after the show. So I'm going to be on record as saying this, and it may be the only time I say it in my life, but it appears Jimmy Haslam has competent people working for him in Cleveland. I didn't think it was possible, but I think he actually has competent people. The Cleveland Browns are doing stuff, right? So you got Fennell, is that how you say his name? The offensive tackle from Utah, stud, love him. Then you get Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M at wide receiver. And now you come back with Denzel Boston, who many had as a first-round wide receiver. You had 2 stud wide receivers for your young quarterback room. Or unless that idiot Deshaun Watson plays, then
that's the thing that's the thing you're forgetting, Sparky. Like that, yes, good picks, I suppose. Who's throwing the ball?
Great draft. It's a great draft.
Who's throwing the ball to them?
But there's a ton of quarterbacks
who's protecting them.
But next year they can get, they got one guy there. I mean, but next year, I think it'll be better. Look, they got Tippmann in the offseason. Oh, no, Tippmann's with the Jets. I'm trying to think, who is on Cleveland's line? That's a good question. It doesn't matter. They're Cleveland. But still, I think it's a good draft. 2 wide receivers, a stud tackle. I think they've done well in Cleveland.
I don't think those are bad picks necessarily whatsoever. But I mean, you might as well have me, you, or Charlie and throwing the ball, in Cleveland. I just don't know if I trust Sanders to be the guy for them going forward. He's certainly going to have the weapons now, right? If you get Boston, you have Concepcion, and obviously they still have a handful of picks yet to go in the draft. But I just don't trust the quarterback situation. And if you don't have a quarterback, I don't really think any of that really necessarily matters. You could have prime Randy Moss and Calvin Johnson back there. If you can't protect the guy, throwing the ball, or trust the guy throwing the ball, you're essentially just useless.
Bill Moss, former Packer, making the pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's where everybody remembers from, but he played for the Packers. Edge rusher Mason Thomas from Oklahoma to the Chiefs. Brandon, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Take care. There he is, Brandon Snide, joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. We'll take a quick time out. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show, sponsored by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601, keepers of the craft. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome back. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601, keepers of the craft. And we are just rolling along here. And Charlie was saying in the breaks, my God, this thing could be done by 8:30 as fast as this thing is going, Charlie.
It's flying by. The Dolphins are taking a little time right now. They're taking the longest out of any team so far in the draft. Every other team has had like a pick in. I think we may be seeing a trade soon. That's the only reason I could think they're taking that long.
So, and the Packers and the Dolphins, obviously, no, it says Dolphins pick in. Cassius Howell, while we were gone, goes to the Bengals, edge from Texas A&M at pick 41. At pick 42, a guy that a lot of Packer fans I know wanted, Christian Miller, the defensive tackle out of Georgia, goes to the Saints at pick 42. The Dolphins are pick 43. To give you an idea about the rest of this division, the Vikings are 49. The Lions are 50. And then the Green Bay Packers sit there at 52. But as Brandon Stein was pointing out from 9 to noon with John Kuhn, who will be making the Packers picks tonight for the Packers, John Kuhn will be hoping to have him on tonight as well before we get out of here and get to the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and myself after the Brewers and the Pirates game is done. But the thing about this is if Green Bay does truly want somebody and is concerned the Vikings or Lions could want that same player and they do not want to have to deal with playing against that same player, it would make sense for them to move up. I still tend to think that the odds is that they're going to move back. And I don't know how far back they move from 52. Maybe they move back 3 picks, 5 picks. Do not move back. I'm going to tell you what I don't want. No trading with the Bears. No trading with the Bears. Bears are at 57. Bears are at 60.
Even if they offered you both of those?
Okay, I would do that.
Yeah. If they said both second-round picks just to move up to the one?
No, Ryan Poles ain't that dumb.
He's not that dumb.
No, he's not that dumb.
I'm just saying, you said there was no chance he would, but like if they were to give you that type of offer because they have one player that they really want, or that pick matters to a different team, so they're willing to trade that pick again moving forward, like there could be a world where they'd offer you both, and you can't turn that down if they were to.
I want to see what happens if Jermon McCoy gets to the Packers, the corner out of Tennessee with all these injuries concerns, because there very well could be teams that don't even have him on their board right now, or do have him on their board, but not till day 3. If they're going to take a pick on him because of his injury history. You just wonder for a cornerback needy team like the Packers, if he were to fall to him, would they potentially consider it? Avion Terrell, another guy from Clemson. He is the 3rd best available according to ESPN's best available chart. Brandon Cece from South Carolina, the corner from South Carolina, is at the 7th best available right now. And
Keontae Scott at 15.
From Miami at 15. You're a big Miami Hurricanes fan.
He's just a slot. Like that's just what he is. So I don't see the Packers taking him.
But they need a boundary corner.
If he's the top corner there, again, trade back. Like you could find somebody that needs that slot corner there.
Correct. And that's the one thing we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Defensive tackles is another thing where I think the Packers would make sense. But if you look at their best available on this list, the best available defensive tackle is until 23 picks away, Xavier Harris from Ole Miss. That's the next best player available, according to Kuiper and ESPN, is all the way down there at 23.
And Lee Hunter's 2 spots after.
Right. Lee Hunter is the guy that I want. That's who I would like for the Packers to take at 52 if they can get to it. The other thing, too, that we've been paying attention to here tonight are the guys that are going up there making the selections. They've got, like, names going up there every time. Like Billy Miller, who was a damn good tight end for the Texans.
Dwight Stevenson right now?
Yep. Yeah. Billy Miller was the guy that went up there for the Texans. Marquise Colston was the guy that went up there for the Saints.
Joe Hayden went up for the Browns.
The Browns.
Fan favorite from my childhood.
Yep. Yeah. Linebacker Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech to Mr. Haley's team with the Miami Dolphins and John Eric Sullivan. So Rodriguez goes there.
Not Haley.
What'd I say?
He said Haley.
Oh my God! I don't want to put Haley on anybody. Halfley. Rodriguez going there. He seems like a Halfley guy.
Oh, 100%. He's a fired up dude. He doesn't wear a lot. Like he looks not good on the field, which I think some guys are like. That's something that draws them away from people. He just has no drip, but he just goes out there and plays football. That's a Halfley guy, man.
He is a football player first, and everything else there second. So that was pick 43. So still 9 picks away from the Packers' next pick. Up next will be the Jets. And then the Baltimore Ravens at that point. The Miami Dolphins are interesting in the fact that you have two Packer guys that are there, obviously. Well, more than that, if you count everybody on their staff. But as far as head coach and GM, they go offensive tackle with Caden Proctor from Alabama in the first round, protect your future, and Malik Willis. Makes sense. Then you come back with Chris Johnson, who Packer fans desperately wanted at cornerback. So that helps. Now you come back with Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. Do you know how many third-round picks Miami has? 3.
I think we just had a trade, too. The Lions move up to pick 44. Trade with the Jets.
No! They don't need more. No!
And they got to pick in fast.
Find out what the trade is. What did they give up to get up? Because the Lions were down closer to the Packers around 47-48. I literally just read off where they were in the order, and they weren't that far in front of the Green Bay Packers. Let's see here. Yeah, the Lions have moved up to 12, and I can't click on it to see the trade. So I don't know what it is. So the Lions now up here at pick 12. The pick already is in. Which way do they go? Kelvin Johnson making the pick. Remember, he was out of favor with the Lions. The Lions were out of favor with him, however you want to look at it.
I think that's more like it,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was pissed at the Lions. I don't think it was the Lions the other way around, but they've actually got that fixed. Derek Moore, they keep the Michigan guy home. Edge from Michigan, he comes in. Can I just say, good for them for getting Hutchinson some extra help.
And Hutchinson, a guy that he knows has been in the same kind of system. Right. I know it hasn't been the same coaching staff there over the past couple of years, but still a guy that will fit in with the defense that you're already running, because the main guy you have is probably running that same kind of defense.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yes. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show, brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steamfitter601.org. Steam Fitter 601, keepers of the craft. We are going to get to that Packers pick eventually. Lions move up, take that pick. Derek Moore, the edge from Michigan at 44. Ravens on the clock next at pick 45. Stay with us. We'll be here second and third round. Then after the last pitch, you make the switch to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show after the Brewers and Pirates game done. Skeens versus Woodruff in that one. Don't go anywhere. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show here live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It's the night football teams get better.
The 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers.
It's the night fans get excited about their team's future.
The Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback.
Presented by the Keepers of the Craft, Steamfitters Local 601. Learn to be one at steam601.org. Let's get to the hosts of the show, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and Charlie Usen.
The second round is flying right now. Flying. Last we left you, the Lions moved up to pick 12 in the second round. So Derek Moore, edge rusher from Michigan. Zion Young just went to the Ravens at 13. On deck, Buccaneers, Colts, Falcons, and then the Vikings. To talk more about that is Paul Farrington, the Paul Farrington Show. They're live on YouTube right now doing a reaction just like they were last night. Paul, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. It's been a while since we've talked. I'm glad to be back on.
Absolutely. I'm glad you are on. I want to get your thoughts on the Vikings, how yesterday went, and if you liked their selection. Because I'll be honest, if I would have known the picture of my draft pick was a dude bare-chested with a black leather vest on, I would have passed.
Hey, you know what? He's a big guy though, so I'll take that because we could use some help in the trenches. But yeah, it might not be my outfit choice either on draft night.
Caleb Banks is a great. He's a good player. The question is whether or not you can get everything out of him on a consistent basis. I think if he plays hard all the time, that could very well end up being a steal.
Well, I think the biggest question is honestly, can he just be on the field, right? He only plays in 3 games last year.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure his injury history goes back to even in high school. And it's, that's the concern. To me, immediately when we made that selection, happy about defensive tackle, right? But think back to the Vikings. Have they ever drafted an injury-plagued defensive tackle out of Florida with sky-high potential who would have gone much higher without the injury concerns? Sharif Floyd, was the first thought that I had. And, obviously there's a chance that it can work out. With Sharif Floyd, it didn't. And when there's guys like Peter Woods or Caden McDonald on the board, it's a risky pick. And I don't know if I'm comfortable being in the home run. They took a home run swing here. It could work out great. But, there's risk attached to this.
Josiah Trotter goes to the Buccaneers, linebacker from Missouri. The Steelers is traded with the Falcons. So I got to let you go. You're 2 picks away. What do you want the Vikings to do? Give me a couple names.
Right now, I like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. The question is Harrison Smith going to come back? I have no intel on this, but I'm starting to get the feeling that actually might happen. You would have thought we'd hear news about him retiring by now. But McNeil-Warren, I like rangy safety, right? Good tackler. The Jermod McCoy situation is really bizarre, and it makes me want to avoid him. I know you guys are coming up, and a lot of Packers fans, I'm sure, are going to have that name circled. But as more and more is coming out on the knee here, and you see him fall further down the board, it just becomes it's concerning. Avion Terrell, cornerback as well, right before you guys. Those would be a couple names. I'm looking in the secondary.
I like it. Hey, go do your thing on YouTube, buddy. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. And good. Actually, not good luck tonight for the Packers, right?
No, we're not wishing each other good luck. Take care. There he is. Paul Farrington from the Paul Farrington Show on the Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that is all. Follow them online at Farrington Show on X. They're also streaming live right now on YouTube if you want to see their reaction. Jeremy Bernard, the wide receiver out of Alabama, the Steelers pick. Again, not a guy that we've talked about, at least not on Wisconsin Sports Daily, of somebody that would make sense for the Packers at that pick. Maybe because people didn't think he'd get there. But the Steelers are going to need help. They still need a quarterback, though.
They showed a highlight of him burning Wisconsin in the end zone. I thought that was a kind of a crazy pick. In my mind, you still have Branch. You still have Brazzell out on the board. I thought Brazzell would be a guy that would have been one of the top 2 wide receivers drafted here in the second round, and now is falling to at least number 3 on this list. Very strange to me. I guess the Steelers, a good pick to some degree. He's a guy who's a reception leader back-to-back years for them. But again, I just wouldn't have gone with him out of all the options that were still there.
Yeah, see, again, as we talked about earlier when we had Brandon Snide on in the last hour from 9 to noon with John Kuhn, this is falling to the point of it makes sense to get the hell out of there. I mean, if they're at 52 and you have 5 to 10 guys that you're like, I'm good with any of these dudes, then get back and get an extra 3rd round pick or 4th round pick to add on to what you have already.
Do you just wait until that pick comes around though? Like you can't get greedy with.
Well, maybe you get a bidding war if there's somebody there that 2 or 3 teams want.
I just feel like if there is going to be a bidding war, there would already start to be some of these calls coming in.
It depends.
It
all depends who people are in love with. Everybody's going to have somebody different, right? So you just wait out, see what it looks like, and then go from there. I mean, we're on pick 48 with the Falcons. Then it's the Vikings at 49. Then it's the Jets at 50. And then it's the Panthers and then the Packers, with the Colts now sitting right behind the Packers because that's where the Steelers were. So now they're at 53 right behind them. There is strategy here. Who do you guys want to see the Packers take? That's where we're at. You can put it on X2. Throw it up on X. Who do you want to see the Packers take? We're 4 picks away. Nicolay Law Talking text line. Let's go. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Also streaming live on X, on YouTube, on Facebook at The Fan Milwaukee, on Instagram Live at WI Sports Radio. Comment in the Dugout YouTube chat as well. If you see somebody there that you want, Charlie will read those comments as they come in. So I would be all good about that if that's a possibility. What are you thinking, Charlie? What looks good to you right now?
I mean, it's still Lee Hunter, right? It's still got to be Lee. You look at the board that's left right now. Jermon McCoy, I'm not sold on guys that miss entire seasons before getting drafted. Like that is just scary to me for a Packers team. In my mind, again, that is looking to take that next step into true Super Bowl contender this season. You need players that fit those spots right away. And if he's a guy that's going to be coming off a year of almost no expectations because he's hurt the entire time, I feel like you need somebody that you're ready to put those expectations on right away. And Lee Hunter, in my mind, feels like the defensive tackle that you can slide in immediately, put him there. He's a big body guy that's going to do the thing that he does. And that's what you need right now because that's what you can rely on. If I'm the Green Bay Packers, I'm staying away from anybody that even remotely says to me, I may not be able to rely on them partway through this season.
And that's the thing. So what are we looking at right now if you are the Green Bay Packers? Obviously, cornerback is something that needs to be considered at this point because you don't have a lot of cornerbacks on this roster under contract for 2027 other than St. Juste, who you just brought in. That's the guy under contract for 27. The rest of that cornerback room potentially could be gone at this point. And you still have Avian Terrell still out there, the cornerback from Clemson is still sitting out there.
Man, like these are the things with Brazzell too that I start to question the moment somebody goes with the wide receiver that's ranked below him. Like, why are these guys getting passed on? And if they get to the Packers pick where they weren't supposed to be at all prior to this draft, why are they sitting there? And does Brian Gutekunst know why they're sitting there? Is he going to pass on them too?
Well, what we were talking about before, if you like somebody that much, then stay there and make the pick. Like, I have no problem with that. But if you go to an average Packer fan right now watching this, whether they're watching in the bar or have the TV on and listening to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network and the game in Duluth Superior or on WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton or on the game in Wausau or the Fan down in southeastern Wisconsin on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan, you're probably all sitting around on a couch or whatever or at a bar going, yeah, I'm good. Like, there's a lot of good options I'd be happy with at this point. How about over there in the dugout for the YouTube chat? What do we got over there?
All right. Collector's Reign says, I'm guessing Malik Muhammad, quarterback out of Texas.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that if that was the route that they ended up going with. I am always going to lean, as I stated earlier, with the defensive tackle. I'd rather get me a Lee Hunter if he somehow falls to that pick. I would love that. I would be all in on that. And then come back in the 3rd round and see what's there. Or go interior offensive line. I mean, there's good guards, interior offensive linemen sitting there too, Charlie.
I mean, if Jennings Dunker, like we talked about, is going to be sitting there, he's a guy who's that Mauler type of player.
Yes, that Mauler type of player. So I'm completely fine with that if they want to go with that dude. Now, again, red hair, mullet, all of that.
That's the type of dude you want, man, isn't it?
I'm not going to buy a poster to put up in my room of Jennings Dunker necessarily, but maybe Michael Turner making the pick for the Atlanta football.
Would you like to hear this pick?
No, I don't care about hearing this pick one way or the other. We'll We'll see who he ends up with. I mean, there's nobody really here. Avion Terrell, there you go.
That's why I was asking.
Out of Clemson. Is your selection for the Atlanta Falcons.
Well,
that's a good pick. Another Terrell in Atlanta because they didn't have enough Terrells in Atlanta that played cornerback. They're going to go get another one.
Well, AJ Terrell is a guy that is a phenomenal cornerback, one of the best in the league. Go out there and bring in a guy that, like we were talking about with the Lions and Aiden Hutchinson, and bringing in more a defensive end. It's a guy that's been through that system. Yes, a little bit bigger of a gap than Aiden Hutchinson being at Michigan, but at the same time, people that know each other. That's what you want to do.
No doubt. Hey, quickly, I'm sidetracking myself because of X and looking at X while I'm doing the show. Big mistake. How about this? Bases loaded. Brock Wilken, who has been complete horribleness all season, hits a triple for the Sounds to clear the bases. Hit it to right center in the gap, off the wall, and clears the bases. How about that? Even Brock Wilken is hitting tonight.
You want a Brewers update?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Sure. What's the Brewers update?
1-0 Pirates. Connor Griffin solo home run.
I got Woodruff tonight in fantasy, so for me, that's not no. I got Brandon Woodruff all year. I didn't just pick him for tonight. It's my fantasy team.
I'm still gonna blame it on you when he does bad, though. That's
but he's been fine. He had 3 strikeouts through 2 frames.
Doesn't mean I'm not gonna blame it on you when he does bad.
That's crap. That is crap. Vikings are coming up next here at pick 17, and again, we just had Paul Farrington on. Now the needs that they list, I switched by the way because I got chastised on the Nicolay Law Talking text line from Schlitzhead Patrick, who says, Mel Kiper's board, really? You're right. That was stupid. I agree with you. That was stupid. So back over to Chad Ryder and crew over at NFL.com. Now, may I remind you, however, that this is not the NFL Network. This is NFL.com. Same type of thing. Panthers just moved into the Viking spot. What is that trade? Please find me that trade. They moved back 2 spots. So the Vikings stay in front of the Packers. They didn't give up much.
So the Panthers trade 51 and 159 for the Vikings 49 and 196.
So they moved up 40 spots with that other pick, something like that. That's good. That works out. That works out okay. So the Vikings trade back 2. Here come the Panthers up, and they wanted to get in front of the Jets. So why would they want to get in front of the Jets? What would they be looking for to go there? Obviously, it's not quarterback.
No, I don't think so. And when you
wide receiver,
I think it might be, but
that they got a wide receiver last night. 2 wide receivers last night.
So maybe not there. Like cornerback, their defense they have to get better at. So if you're looking at Jermod McCoy sitting at the top of the board, that could be a guy.
Vikings need a corner too. Jets need a corner.
I think the other spot you could go is tight end potentially, and Eli Stowers is the number 1 tight end on the board, and maybe they wanted to go and take a gamble. The
Jets aren't taking a tight end. They could have sat there.
Maybe not the Jets. Maybe it's again just
that's the only team in between these two.
I think maybe it could be again just that could be the pick.
Why would you? Well, okay, fine.
Tight end is their number 1 need on Mel Kiper's board right now.
That's fine. All I'm saying is, why would I move up 2 spots when the Jets just got a tight end last night?
Unless it's like when the Bears traded up for Mitch Trubisky, where they were worried that other teams were just going to jump into that spot too. Like just because they're trading with the Jets doesn't mean the Jets were the only team that wanted to be in that spot. Maybe they're outbidding somebody else to get.
You could have the Eagles potentially move up to the Jets spot, I guess, if that's another team that potentially could need a tight end at that spot. If that's what it is. I mean, I hope they take a tight end because that doesn't affect the Packers draft board at all. If Charlie's doesn't already know the selection because he's cheating there on X.
It's going so fast. Like I need to. Oh, you're not gonna like this one yet. I was gonna say.
No, not my guy. Dang it! I wanted Lee Hunter. He was so close. See, this is what I mean. This drives me nuts. So. We go back. Remember the draft? What was it, last year, whatever else? I was begging for the Packers to move up, and it was 2 years ago. Is it 2 years ago? Not last year. 2 years ago, I wanted them to take a corner, and there was 2 guys there, and I was begging, go up, go up, go up. Jaguars aren't going to do it. Go up, go up. Nope, they don't go up. Both corners go to the Vikings and the Lions, and then they end up taking Jordan Morgan at left tackle. I was just beside. Terrion Arnold was one of the guys I wanted, and then Mitchell was the other guy that the Eagles ended up with. You better not turn
happened again.
But at least he's not in the division. I mean, at least he's not in the division.
I guess not, but again, that still hurts. I feel like that's the guy you wanted for the most part for the Packers for Packers fans. Like, we talk about cornerback, but when you watch the Green Bay Packers last season, when that front seven was going, when they were actually at full health, Micah Parsons going, you don't have to worry about the cornerbacks. This is a guy that you could bring in and could help solidify that front seven, and you can maybe test out some later round picks on those cornerbacks instead.
I did not know in my research that Avian Terrell is AJ Terrell's brother.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That's why I was talking about them knowing each other.
Yeah. Well, just because you said they know each other,
they went to Clemson.
Didn't make sense to me that they were actual physical like brothers necessarily. But that's a cool little thing for the Atlanta Falcons. So now we got to determine what we want to do here. Do we just wait? Because we got 2 picks. We're gonna take a quick timeout. We'll come back. Packers pick is 2 picks away. So it's the Jets, then the Vikings, then the Packers. And we'll come back and we'll tell you who the Packers take. Well, no. Who do you want them to take? Nicolay Law Talking text line. Call your shot before it happens. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. It's the Green Bay Football Draft Show. There you go. Brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601, keepers of the craft. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show, brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601, keepers of the craft. We talked about this earlier on Wisconsin Sports Daily. It feels like it's the new hot thing to do coming out of high school. A lot of people now getting into the trade straight out of high school, seeing that as a secure future kind of moving forward. So again, Steam Fitters, baby, Local 601, my oldest is part of that group, and a pretty cool deal. Vikings on the board right now, making their selection. D'Angelo Pons from Indiana, the super short corner, 5'8", went to the Jets in the previous pick. Vikings up, and then it's the Packers. Coming up at 52, Jake Golday from Cincinnati, the linebacker, goes there. I wasn't wanting him anyhow.
Yeah, that seems, again, just like a weird pick. Like, he was a guy that was way farther down on most people's boards at this point. I know the Vikings already traded back once, but you probably could have traded back again to get him.
Okay, so here we are. Tramon McCoy is still there from Tennessee. McCoy tore an ACL in January of 25, causing him to miss the entirety of last season. In 24, McCoy led the Volunteers with 13 passes defended, tied for the team lead with 4 picks. Shows the ability to read a receiver's break, displays good timing when reaching into breakup passes, frame and balance make it difficult for receivers to push him around at the top of routes, and he has the speed to turn and run downfield. Also does a good job of reading the quarterback, playing the ball rather than the man, and breaking on throws and zone looks. His length and frame allows him to consistently compete on 50-50 balls despite coming off an injury. He has redeeming traits that flash on film. There has to be more to this of why he's falling. Matt Miller from ESPN's Pro Comp is Christian Gonzalez. Would you like Christian Gonzalez?
Yeah, I'd take Christian Gonzalez for sure. Packers got their pick in already, so.
There has to be more. I mean, if he takes Tramon McCoy, nobody's mad, are they?
I don't think so.
I mean, unless he doesn't play all next year.
That would be the only problem is if he's not ready to go or if there's some kind of underlying concern that we're going to find out after the draft. But,
buddy.
I mean, just based off the report, that feels like a guy that fits in. We go to commercial break.
Of course. That's all right. We're
Make
good.
us wait. Make
So
us sweat.
right now, he's there. Emmanuel McNeil, Warren Toledo, safety. No, thank you. Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas, athletic linebacker that can run side to side. Eli Stowers, the tight end out of Vanderbilt. CC out of South Carolina. Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver out of Georgia. Chris Brazel, the second from Tennessee, who they had in on a visit. Gabe Jacas from Illinois, the edge. CJ Allen, the linebacker from Georgia. Pregnon, the Oregon offensive guard. I like him. You like Keontae Scott, you said, right?
I do. I think he's a player that plays bigger than what he is. Just he's a specific slot cornerback. So unless you're willing to move him out there and thinks he can play on the outside, then maybe you go with that. But again, he's a smaller guy, 5'11", about probably gonna be shorter than that when they show his height up there. I think there's probably better options than him. I do like him a lot, though.
Taking a linebacker isn't stupid. Can I just say that? Because there's no guarantee.
Either,
there's no guarantee Zaire Franklin's going to work out. I like Zaire Franklin with Indy. Most people did not like Zaire Franklin with Indy. I did. Now, obviously, he didn't play that well last year. I understand that. But he was pretty good earlier in his career. But if you don't think that he's the long-term answer, and I'm guessing they don't, taking a linebacker maybe makes a little bit of sense here if you decide to go that way. Again, if it's you or me, we're going cornerback, defensive tackle, interior offensive line. That's where we are. And now that Jaden Reed is signed to a 3-year extension for $50+ million a year, I think there's some people that think, okay, well, they're not going to go wide receiver. I don't think that X's him out of wide receiver necessarily, because you still have to sign Watson long-term and be confident that can get done. And you just took Golden last year. And if you're not sold that Matthew Golden is going to turn the corner, maybe you take a second swing at wide receiver to protect yourself to make sure you have a good third wide receiver in this deal.
Maybe. Again, there's just so many other spots you can attack before linebacker, before wide receiver, that you could trade back and still get really good players. Like Emmanuel Pregnon's on this board. A guard, I'd rather have that over linebacker, wide receiver every day.
Yeah, I like Pregnon a lot out of Oregon. So, I mean, if he's there, James Dunker is there, the kid from Iowa. We talked about him. He's an offensive tackle. He's going to play guard in the NFL.
100%.
Pretty sure he's not going anywhere else outside of that. Xavier Harris, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. He's there. If you think Xavier Harris is that guy that can line up and give you something at this point, Xavier Harris is 6'8", 330 pounds.
Just signed Class Campbell.
That qualifies as a big dude, man.
Yeah,
that's a big dude, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay if they go Xavier Harris. I'm okay with that. I mean, 6'8", 330. Holy crap. I mean, I can't even imagine being 6'8" to begin with. And 330 pounds.
You can't imagine being 6 foot.
No, I can't. No, I have no idea what 6 foot is like. I'm sure it's much, I don't know, cooler, warmer up at that level. I mean, think about it. Here comes John Kuhn. We're gonna want to play this one. Kuhn. Yeah, we're gonna want it. We're gonna definitely gonna want to hear John Kuhn here make the pick. He's smiling. All right, here's John Kuhn, our very own.
It is my esteemed pleasure to make this second round pick on behalf of Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, and the millions of Packer fans across the world. With the 52nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Brandon Cisse, defensive back, South Carolina.
I'm good. I'm good with Brandon Cisse. I'm fine with Brandon Cisse. They need a cornerback. They went and got one from South Carolina. And again, it makes sense. 6 foot, about 190, which is their range of weights of where they want you to be, probably in that area of 190. Your thoughts on this pick? Let us know. Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, on the socials at WI Sports Radio, X, YouTube, Instagram Live, and of course, we're streaming live as well on Facebook at the Fan Milwaukee on Facebook. Do you like the pick, Charlie? Hold on a second. I gotta turn you on. There you go.
Okay, there we go. I do like this pick. I think this is a spot, again, where we talked about the Green Bay Packers. It was kind of cornerback or defensive tackle in this first couple of picks, day 2 of the draft. Brian Gutekunst said he was going to attack this position with multiple players. This is a guy that I am a huge fan of. I think he goes in here. He's crying right now, showing a lot of emotion. I love that personally. I think a guy that is going out there and living his dream, that's something that you really have to appreciate. Going to play for the Packers is definitely a part of that dream. Again, he looks like a bigger guy compared to some of these other cornerbacks that we're seeing, can be a true outside cornerback. That's what you need for this Green Bay Packers team. I'm very happy with this pick.
He is the most emotional draft pick we've seen to this point. Just absolutely bawling.
Caden McDonald was pretty emotional too earlier in the draft.
Fair, but he was stuck in the
That's
green
true
room
too. I would be emotional too
in Pittsburgh. I mean, I would be too. Pat Mack, if you make it the Colts pick. Okay. So Brandon Cisse, again, as we said, 6 foot 189. Now, this is from the Green Bay Football Draft Guide here. Strengths. So Cisse didn't work out at the NFL Combine to provide concrete numbers. His explosive athletic ability shows up on film consistently. A long cornerback with functional play strength that is often surprising for a younger corner who weighs less than 190. I mean, it's a pound difference. Cisse does a good job driving down in the click to close phase and getting out of his back pedal. Cisse has the deep speed to recover and is athletic enough not to need that recovery speed often. Cisse isn't just a willing tackler. He's a good tackler who can get off blocks and defend the run, screen, and RPO games. Cisse is successful at the catch point and does well in contested catch situations. His traits lend themselves well to man coverage. Cisse has extensive experience in both the slot and on the outside. Weaknesses from the Green Bay Football Draft Guide. Cisse doesn't have an enormous amount of snaps under his belt, which occasionally shows itself when he's in zone coverage. He struggles to recognize route combinations and where he should be when teammates are trying to pass off receivers. Folks, this is not good because they're going to play zone. He hasn't been a major playmaker, intercepting just 2 passes and breaking up just 10 more in 3 seasons of college football. I don't feel like that's good either. Cisse struggles to track the football in the air and isn't always able to contest when he should.
I don't like that. That kind of sounds like Keyshawn Nixon.
Right now, Cisse is a better athlete than football player.
All right. That sounds like a Packers guy, though. A lot of these players that they draft are athletes, and then they find the spot for them, so maybe they can make it work. I'm trying to be
How
positive for you. Sparky.
he fits, according to the Green Bay Draft Guide. Cisse is a little light for what Green Bay wants at the cornerback position in the past, especially being that he's a relatively tall corner. He's a young player with a lot of athletic ability, so in that way, he might catch the eye of Brian Gutekunst. With that said, he'll miss that weight threshold and profiles more as a man corner than a zone corner. The Packers appear headed towards a heavy zone defense under their new coordinator. Team fit, medium. Player comp, I like, if he leads up to it, J.C. Horn.
Okay. Yeah, we can live with that. Does that include injuries for J.C. Horn? Because J.C. Horn has been a guy that can't stay on the field.
No, I think it's just overall.
All right. Let's see. I'm a little worried. Is that J.C. Horn was a South Carolina guy too, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with the two playing in similar schemes. Like we can make this work.
I don't know, but reading that Green Bay
I'm
draft
being
guide,
positive.
those negatives are horrible negatives.
Yeah, that was
they're really bad.
Hearing that he's an athlete over a football player
yeah,
is not what you want
good
to hear,
either.
dude.
No. And again, it's not Sparky being negative. It's not Charlie being negative. I'm just telling you what they wrote. And that is not good. And this was wrote weeks ago. So this isn't like they knew they were going to take them. Not good. Not good, I tell you. CB, you're next to the Green Bay football draft show here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. What's up?
What's going on, man? I don't like the pick and think the guy's a bust. They wasted pick on him. They could have got somebody else, a receiver or something, or traded to the Colts and got that Colts cornerback that's out there for trade. So
CJ Allen, I would have loved more. Yes, that would have been fine. Who you're talking about with the Colts. Colts ended up drafting CJ Allen, the linebacker, after the Packers made their pick, and they traded back with the Steelers prior to that happening. So you don't like Cisse. You wanted a wide receiver instead?
Yeah, big, tall, physical wide receiver to go with Watson.
Yep, it would have. Yep, it would have made sense, CB. Thanks for the call. Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vanderbilt to the Eagles. That's a great pick for the Eagles.
That is a really good pick for them. I think that's the Eagles have been able to go into this draft and really hit on some of those needs that they've had, which again is something that I wanted the Packers to do. They go in with this pick, and yes, it may not be the premier pick, but it's hitting a need that they had. I didn't want them to go out and just get best player available like I'm seeing a lot of these teams try to do so far. They went and got a need. I'm happy with them going for the need.
Update on the Brewers game. They're now down 2-0, batting in bottom of the fourth inning. Brewers still do not have a hit against Paul Skeens as we sit here through 4 innings, heading to the top of 5. And again, the Packers, I should say, drafting Brandon Cisse, wanting to know what you think of the pick. Nicolay Law Talk at text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Would like to know what you think of it. We got some activity going on over there in the YouTube dugout chat as well at WI Sports Radio, Charlie.
So we go over there. Collector's Reign says solid. As we move down, Mark says Bears will get one of the biggest defensive tackles we needed. Another cornerback who will bust. Somebody else looking a little negative like CB like that. And then last year we got DMZ saying good pick. So we got like a very mixed bag here with the reaction to this player.
I think the number one thing is they got a corner. They needed corners. So I think most people that don't know anything about this dude are going to say, that's a good pick. They got a corner just like they needed. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I watched a lot of Gamecock football last year. I did not watch a lot of South Carolina Gamecock football, nor have I went online and looked up YouTube highlights of this cat either. So I'm telling you what I read. And what I read is not really all that positive, other than he's a great athlete with explosive athletic ability, which is great. I'm all for that. However, what it takes to play the position, specifically zone, which if that is what they're going to play under Gannon as defensive coordinator, this is a problem. Having said that, if they're going to play man-to-man, and we just don't know it yet, then maybe this looks like a hell of a lot better pick. But if they're playing man, how do we feel about Keyshawn Nixon playing man? How do we feel about Carrington Valentine playing man?
Not good. I'm not really confident in that. Again, a lot of the things that they were saying were negatives for Cisse are negatives for Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine getting lost, being good athletes, but not being able to stay with some wide receivers. Like, those are all things that worry me when everybody has the same weakness. I think when you have different weaknesses, you can learn how to rotate guys. You can learn how to figure out where somebody needs to be stronger. You could pair them up together and have them work on their weaknesses together. But when they all have the same weakness, that makes it a lot harder to figure out how to rotate these guys, how to pair them up and mentor them when everybody's got the same problems.
I agree with you on that. Nikolay Law Talk and Text Line Schwartz Center says, I love this pick. The fact that he was still there, it's a steal. Would have loved McCoy, but obviously that knee is not right since he is still available. From the 919, very smart pick. Good job, Goody. From the 218, we have a corner. Yes, you have a corner. Now the question becomes, how many more corners is he going to add between today and tomorrow?
I mean, for the way he was talking about it over this past week, you would hope that there's a second one taken today in that third round. If he's telling the truth, Brian Gutekunst, that is, that he wants to go out here and attack this cornerback room and add multiple names to it. If there's somebody worthwhile with that third round pick, you have to go and take that. And I don't think any Packers fans would be mad about it.
You go back to the Rod and Wolf era when he went and drafted 3 cornerbacks in the first 3 rounds of a draft. Antoine Edwards out of Clemson ended up making him a safety. Then they came back and got Fred Vinson, who they ended up trading for Amon Green. Vinson was never able to stay healthy and didn't really have any type of a career in Seattle either. And then the third one was the most effective, Mike McKenzie out of Memphis, played for the Tigers down there. He ended up having the longest and best career of the 3 of them. And that, again, was the third corner that they took.
And sometimes you need to do that, especially with this team where Keyshawn Nixon needs to be put on a hot seat. Carrington Valentine needs to be put on a hot seat. A third, a fourth, a fifth round pick could potentially get the shot to be a starter at some point this season. And I think you want to have as many opportunities to replace a Keyshawn Nixon, to replace a Carrington Valentine. You're not going to tell those guys that. Maybe you do tell those guys that to get them going. But for the most part, you're not going to tell them that. But you have to find a way to get the fire going underneath them.
He is Charlie Uzitz. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Green Bay Football Draft Show. Brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601, keepers of the craft. We will continue on with more of our draft coverage. Packers are in the books. Their first pick has been made. Brandon Cisse, 6 foot 189 out of South Carolina. The pick. Matt Miller's comp, by the way, Desmond Trufant.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
He had a really solid prime there. It was a shorter prime. I don't think it was that long, but with Atlanta, when he was at his best, he was one of the best cornerbacks in the league. You really, again, you like to hear that type of stuff, but with Trufant, he was another guy who was a really good athlete that I think just kind of figured it out in a really good defensive system with Atlanta during that tenure. He also fell off really fast, and that was when they changed systems, and when he went to new teams, it just didn't work out the same for him.
Correct. And that is something that we look at this Packers roster right now and where we're at right now with Brian Gutekunst. If you're saying you have the most need at that position, then why didn't you do more in free agency to help with that position? Because it wasn't like you were up against it financially. You were not. You had plenty of cap space, $20-some million in cap space, where you could have went and addressed this versus trying to figure this out in the draft. Yes, you got one guy in free agency, and that was about the extent of it. All right, we'll take a quick time out. Back after this, it is Green Bay Football Draft Show brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky and Charlie with you. Welcome back. Green Bay Football Draft Show. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Thanks for tuning in. Draft Show brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitter 601, keeper of the craft. A 3-0 game now. Pirates over the Brewers. O'Neal Cruz reaches on a fielder's choice. Spencer Horwitz scores. And that is where we sit currently, 3-0. Paul Skeens still has not given up a hit to the Milwaukee Brewers, and we are in the top of 5 with a runner still on base for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's get you up to date on what's going on with the NFL draft. We also had another trade in the NFL as well. So C.J. Allen to Georgia at 21. Eli Stowers, the tight end of Vanderbilt, at 22. Gabe Jacas to New England, the edge rusher from Illinois at 23. Nate Borkersher, Texas A&M tight end, who nobody saw getting drafted on day 2. He goes 24 to Jacksonville. Bears now on the clock. If you're just tuning in, I'm like, who do the Packers take? They took Brandon Cisse, a cornerback out of South Carolina. That was their decision. 189, right around 6 feet tall. Arm length 30 3/4, hands 8.5, wingspan 75 7/8. So that is the deal on Brandon Cisse. The Green Bay football guide that we have, draft guide, that is Jacob Wessendorf, Jacob Morley, Paul Brettel, all the guys you hear on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network pretty much say that he's a better athlete than a football player, number one. Number two, he's definitely better at man than he is at zone. Not great at contested plays and not great at tracking the ball in the air. So other than that,
other than 2 things that make you a good cornerback.
Athletically, he's explosive and they really like him. The football side of things, maybe not as much. So if you read that, it makes you believe that this is going to be kind of a project where you're going to still have Nixon and Valentine and you're going to have to coach him up. Now, the one thing that we don't know and that we're all speculating on is the scheme that Gannon is going to run in Green Bay. We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be man-to-man or zone. We're all speculating it's zone, but we really don't know because Gannon still hasn't even had a press conference, and he's been defensive coordinator for how long? There was a trade involving the Vikings and the Eagles. What do you got?
All right, so that one, the Vikings are sending former Pro Bowl linebacker Jonathan Grenard to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 3rd-round pick tonight, number 98, 3rd-round pick next year. This deal will also result in Grenard getting a 4-year, $100 million extension from the Eagles, clears up about $34 million for the Vikings.
Jimbo Covert, former offensive lineman from the Bears back in the 80s, up there to make the selection for the Bears at pick 57. And they've got 2 selections here in the 2nd round. So they're going to have another one coming up here in just a few picks as well. Lots to pick from. If you're the Chicago Bears right now, lots of really good quality players as some teams have been reaching a little bit. Logan Jones, a center out of Iowa.
All right. I like that a lot. The Bears center, Drew Dahlman, surprisingly retired in the offseason, which really kind of threw them for a loop.
Kind of got pushed into this one.
They went and made a trade with the Patriots to bring in a replacement guy. But this is, yes, like you said, a push, but also at the same time, a guy playing for one of consistently the best offensive lines in the country in Iowa can come in, potentially fill in right away if you needed him to. I don't know. I like this pick for the Bears. It's not a sexy one, but it's one that gets the job done and fills a position of need, just like their first pick last night.
Lance Zierlein from NFL.com. Undersized but highly experienced with NFL-ready technique. Jones has a dense frame and short limbs. He has impressive initial quickness and stays firm inside the framework with his hands while his feet rarely stop pressing forward. Long nose tackles with quick hands are his kryptonite, however, at the point of attack. Iowa's scheme limited his true pass set count, so proving he can anchor and play with gap range will be essential. He's operational in gap schemes, but better in zone, where his athleticism mitigates his lack of length. Jones' age, traits, and center-only value could limit his suitor count, but he has the polish to help early with the right fit.
The Cleveland Browns just traded back into the 2nd round again, up to pick number 58.
Can't go quarterback, can you?
You can.
No,
you very much can.
No, you can't. They got to be coming back in for another offensive lineman. that cat from Oregon is still sitting out there, isn't he?
I feel Emmanuel Pregnon. He's the guy. Jennings Dunker is still out there. Like, you have options that I think could be really interesting for a Cleveland Browns team, like you said, that's still looking to solidify that group.
Yeah, I think that's something. I mean, if you're the Browns, I think you got to consider another offensive lineman to add on, trying to build that brick wall for whoever the quarterback's going to be this year, next year, the year after that. That to me makes the most sense at this point.
They went safety. Emmanuel McNeil Warren.
And it was 58 and 152. The Browns get, the Niners get 70 and 107. Well, that's a good trade for the Niners. They moved up almost 50 picks in the third round.
I know that's a good trade for the Browns too. That just got the second best player available on the board, and he's been the second to third best available player all night.
And I wonder how much of that has to do with him coming from Toledo.
He's 6'3" and a half.
Big dude, man. It's a big dude at safety. Cleveland's had a nice draft. I said that earlier. They got 2 wide receivers, an offensive tackle, and now they go get a safety to go along with it.
They're filling everything they need. There's some teams
he's
here.
A hitter too. Hot damn. Oh, woo. He can hit. Oh, yeah, that's something else. Good hands. Yeah, that's a nice. Again, that's not a guy the Packers would have taken regardless.
No.
Because you got 2 safeties. You don't need to take another safety at this point.
You're pretty safe with that pick.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I mean, that obviously makes a lot of sense. All right. The Green Bay Football Draft Show, again, powered by Steamfitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steamfitter 601, keepers of the craft. The Milwaukee Brewers and Pittsburgh Pirates are still doing their thing and playing their game over here. Bottom of 5. Pirates are up 3-0 on the Milwaukee Brewers right now. Paul Skeens yet to give up a hit. Figures the night I'm going to fill in with Tim Allen on the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show immediately following this, after the last pitch you make the switch, will be the night that Paul Skeens no-hits the Brewers. I mean,
that's still fun to see a no-hitter, right?
No, not when it's against you. Back after this.
It's the night football teams get better.
The 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers.
It's the night fans get excited about their team's future.
The Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback.
Presented by the Keepers of the Craft, Steamfitters Local 601. Learn to be one at steam601.org. Let's get to the hosts of the show, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and Charlie Usen.
All right, here we are doing our thing, and the Green Bay Packers have made their pick already in the second round, as we talked about earlier. And the guy that made that selection joins us now from Pittsburgh, host of 9 to Noon with John Kuhn, the aforementioned John Kuhn on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that is all. John, you were looking good on stage today.
Thanks, fellas. Hey, it's a little bit loud in the green room, so I'm going to do the best that I can, but it's an absolute vibe out here in Pittsburgh for the draft, and the Green Bay Packers making their first pick in the second round here. It's a cornerback, so going to get some more competition, like Brian Gutekunst said, on the outside defensively.
How much do you read into the type of cornerback they draft? Because reading up on Cisse, the cornerback that they took, it appears he's more of a man corner than a zone corner. Do you read into that at all, potentially, as far as scheme that Gannon may be leaning towards?
No, not really. But honestly, when you have attributes like that, when you're able to play man, it means you can play a little bit more aggressive with your front. And a guy that can do that honestly gives you options on the other side of the field. So you can lean a little bit of help to the other side and trust that he can go out there and be able to match up man on man with some of the best athletes in the NFL at wide receiver. So I look at it simply, Brian Gutekunst saw value in this pick. It didn't matter if it was corner, didn't matter where else it was at, anywhere else across the board, but he saw value in this kid, and he sees the fact that he can come in here and compete day one.
Talking with John Kuhn, host of 9 to Noon with John Kuhn, weekday mornings from 9 to noon, him and Rami Makloff. We had Brandon Snide on earlier in the show in the 6 o'clock hour. And now John Kuhn, who made the selection in the second round, and now will make the selection in the third round as well. Tell me about the experience. Like, how long did you know what the pick was prior to actually walking up there with it?
Well, I had about 3 minutes. 3 minutes to make sure that I could pronounce the name. Thank goodness it was not a difficult one. And Roger Goodell was back there and letting us know exactly how this whole thing plays out. So it was a very enjoyable experience. I'm having a lot of fun in the green room with a lot of guys that I played not just with, but against in the NFL. So like I said, it's a vibe, just like it was in Green Bay last year. It's a vibe here in Pittsburgh. We're having a blast. Now, real quick, Brandon texted me that he called that pick. Is that in fact true?
Yes.
Did he say that earlier tonight?
He did.
That he was picking Cisse to be our cornerback in round 2.
He absolutely did. Yes.
Wow, that man's on a heater right now. I don't want to take it away from him. Normally I disagree with Brandon, but he got that one right.
He got that one right. Okay, so third round, do they go defensive tackle potentially?
Man, that's the question. And honestly, when you look at this, Cisse was very high on the best available players list. And Goody is a master of trying to just get players that are going to make impacts for your team long term. So at this point in time, I don't think it really matters what position the pick is. It's just how much value will he bring and how can you develop that player. And if he's somebody that matches with what Matt LaFleur does offensively or Jonathan Gannon does defensively, then he very well could be the pick here in the third round.
John, if you want to get a vibe started on your own and be the person that starts the vibe, you are in Pittsburgh. The Pirates are playing the Brewers. Skeens has no-hit the Brewers through 5 so far.
Why are you going to try and ruin my night right now, Sparky?
Well,
You're going to try and ruin my vibe? That's a vibe. That's
because
a
his
vibe
night's getting ruined.
No, because I'm trying to jinx the hell out of this by continuing to say that he's throwing a no-hitter. They're losing 4-0. I've got to do the post-game show after this. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm telling you, you're in Pittsburgh. At some point, people are going to start looking at their phones for the Pirates score and realize that a no-hitter is underway currently. A no-hitter is going on halfway through that game.
Yeah. I mean, I think about the Brewers, and they just had to play Scooble, and now they got to try and hit off the scheme. So nothing's easy for the Brewers right now. let's go out there. Let's get that hit. Let's get him the heck out of the game and get into that bullpen.
Yes, that would be good. John Kuhn, you did a great job, my friend. I can't wait to see what happens in the third round, man. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, fellas. Great talking with you.
Take care. There he is, John Kuhn of 9 to Noon with John Kuhn, joining us here on the Green Bay Football Draft Show, brought to you by Steam Fitters, Local 601 on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. So Shane Drone comes in and immediately gives up a run. That's how we got to 4. They took Woodruff out after 5. So they've got 4 runs on 7 hits. Again, like I said, I don't think the Brewers have even had a base runner. So not only that, he's got a perfect game on top of a no-hitter going on.
Woohoo. I mean, okay. So again, Sparky, like, you kind of have to think that's pretty cool, right?
No, I don't. Stop saying it.
It's
no,
early in the season.
No,
like,
there's nothing cool.
It's a perfect game, man.
I don't give a damn. No, it's not. If this was happening against the Cubs, I'd say, that's pretty cool that he's throwing a perfect game against the Trader and the Cubs. I'd be all for saying it's cool. Against my team, my Brewers, not cool. And if you think I don't think it's cool, wait till you hear Tim Allen come on the Potawatomi Sportsbook Post Game show when this game is done. You're
Tommy's
really
gonna be
hear.
So happy he got tonight off.
Man. He's gonna be like, Spark, you've done every other damn show. You do it by yourself. I'm not coming on. Taking the night off too.
Well, this would be
Mr. Hands. Igabenu seen whatever his name is from Ohio State, the corner, goes to Buffalo. I'm telling you,
son.
that man has more holding penalties. You watch him play Ohio State the last couple of years. He holds everybody
in a conference that you don't really need to hold wide receivers all that often. Like Indiana had a good set of wide receivers this year, but outside of that, you were facing a conference that is definitely more definitely more defense focused. You shouldn't have to be holding guys in the Big Ten.
Last several picks on the NFL draft: Emmanuel McNeil Warren at 26th pick, 58 overall. Marlon Klein, the tight end from Michigan, at 59 to the Texans. Anthony Hill Jr. to the Titans. That's a great pick at pick 60. Linebacker out of Texas. Max Clare, tight end of Ohio State. There's been a run on tight ends. At pick 61 to the Rams. And then the cornerback from Ohio State just now to the Bills at 62. The Bears, you said, made a trade earlier as well. And that is, who got up to that spot? Was that the Titans?
The Titans got
That's
up
how
to
they got
that
up there
spot.
for Anthony Hill Jr.
Yep. So that trade for the Chicago Bears was the Bears trade number 60 to trade back into the third round for number 69, and then 144 back in the fifth round.
So they get an additional pick in the fifth round by moving back a few selections. So now it's the Chargers, then the Seahawks, and just like that, round 2 is done.
Flew by. That was just.
It took 2 hours. I don't know if I'd say it flew by.
That flew by for me.
2 hours. They did.
Last year we did like 4 hours for one round, man. So this feels much faster.
Not 4 hours. It was like 3 hours and 23 minutes.
You knew exactly the time.
Don't lie to me. Try and pass one over on me.
Hey, me and Tommy do
4
extra work before and after too, so you can round it up to 4 hours.
Can I just say this? Hold on a second. First of all, y'all did a great job last year. I told you both as it was happening. I ran and brought you pizza last year when I got back from Green Bay. So I left Green Bay because that's where I did my show and had unbelievable guests that hung out with me. Jacob Westendorf was with me for like 2.5 hours co-hosting the show with me, which was amazing. So anyways, I leave Green Bay. I drive back. I'm asking these guys, hey, do you want food? So I go to Maddie's here in New Berlin, right by the radio station. For those of you listening in Wausau, Green Bay, Duluth Superior, you don't know anything about Maddie's Bar and Grill. But if you're ever down in the area, it's a great place. So when I got pizza, brought it over here, dropped it off, literally ran back into my car and got the heck out of here because I was done. I wanted to go home to watch the draft. But I had these dudes on for like a majority of it, and it was so good. And we had the pre-recorded vignettes that we were playing on the air too, because again, a lot easier for a first-round pick. You have a good idea of who's in the area. A lot more difficult when we get to the second and third round. Some of these cats, there's no way I would have made a draft vignette.
Oh, no shot. These last 3 tight ends. So Max Clare is the third-ranked tight end on ESPN's class. He was like reasonably in the second round. The 2 guys that got drafted before, I still don't even remember their names. Absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. Like, what are we thinking? Who would have ever thought to bring those guys? They must know something, I guess.
That's why they have scouts.
They get paid a lot more than me, I guess.
They get paid too, yeah. Is that Sean Merriman up there acting like a fool?
That's
pretty sure that's like, Sean Merriman. Yeah, he's making the pick for the Chargers here at pick 63. And again, then it's the Seahawks. After that, Jake Slaughter, the center from Florida, the senior, gets picked at 31. Do we ever think
that guy does not look like a football player.
Did we think at any point? No, he doesn't. He looks like an accountant.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that they could take a center today? That really has not come up. And I know they signed Ryan to that deal, but I don't know, man. They got Jacob Monk. They seem to like
Jacob Monk.
Gotta like Monk.
Goody brings his name up way too often for them not to like him as much as it seems they do. I really liked Monk. It just doesn't feel like, A, it's worked out when he has been on the field, and then B, he just hasn't been able to stay on the field. He has had his injury problems, but he could have been a guy that rotates in at this center position over the past couple of years and just hasn't been able to take the reins of that role. I would really like him to be able to. Seems like Goody really likes him. Seems like Matt LaFleur likes him. He's talked about him before, especially in last offseason. He was talking about him a lot. I don't know. I feel like they just feel confident in the guys that are on the field in that group. He said he loves the offensive line, the starting five, and he said he was also very comfortable with the depth in that group too. I think that's something to watch here as the draft goes on. I don't think that was going to be a realistic spot for them to take.
I would like to point out something about Sean Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be done with him after this year if he sucks.
Yeah.
They have an opt-out in this deal. I'm looking at it right now. The cap hit is, I don't want to read that out loud. The cap hit is 6, 6, 6,
Ooh,
6,
evil.
6, 6, 6.
That's more than 3 6s, so it's fine.
Yeah,
right?
it's 6 6s. No,
It's
7.
extra.
No. 7 6s. Thank God it wasn't 6 6s. 7 6s in a row is the cap hit for that. Now, if they bail on him after this year, after 26, they save about $5 million in dead cap space because his cap number goes to 12, 6, 6, 6, 6 6s after the 12. Like I would have demanded changes to this. Like I don't care if you make that a 3, a 2, or a 1. We're not having all these 6s in a row. But either way, they could bail after 2026 if they don't like what they see out of Sean Ryan at center.
Which I think there's a very high chance that they don't like what they see out of him at center, which would mean that maybe they could go with center in this.
Tell Ryan Wood that's his guy.
I don't know. I just
make him mad.
I feel like what we're going to see from Sean Ryan this season is what we've seen from Rasheed Walker the past couple seasons, where a guy fills in at a spot where you don't expect him to be as good as he ended up being. And then he has a decent season at a spot. Also, Sean Ryan statistically did not have a great season at center last year for the Packers. If you look back at the numbers and what he did there and what Josh Jacobs did behind him when he was playing center, like it just did not look as good as it felt on the field. I think you're going to go into this season, see him as starting center and say, hey, now I expect you to be a starting center in this league. Is he going to be able to live up to that? I just don't believe he does.
414 says Brandon Cisse was the 27th overall player in the Packer Report draft guide. They got him at 52. Please read it. I read it all on the radio, the whole thing. They literally say in the draft guide, a better athlete than a football player. I don't know what more you want me to tell you. He doesn't play, not good in zone. He doesn't read the ball well in the air. And this is them. This is not me. I didn't watch all the film like they did. Again, read it. The positives, he's a great athlete and runs fast and all that other stuff. Great. Explosive. Wonderful. Good tackler. Willing tackler, right? He's a good tackler. That's good. But read the weaknesses and then read the recap. I'm telling y'all, go read it. To
It's
the
right
414. Go read it and you will see exactly what I see. Now, I got some more ones coming in here from the 920. Says artificial intelligence gives the Cisse pick an A- in Gannon's defense. Says he's long, physical, smart, disciplined, match capable, and leverage is sound. And so it's a high fit pick for the type of defense we can expect from Gannon. What's that? I mean, I thought it was zone. But again, going off of that, it's not his thing. Now, we brought up to John Kuhn about this and said he's better in man-to-man. And Kuhn seemed to say, well, cool. If he's good in man-to-man, they can figure out how to get him to play better in zone. You agree?
I think so. I think man-to-man is definitely the hardest. It's more of a reactionary type defense. Zone, you're kind of watching your area, making sure that nobody crosses in front of your face type of play. Like, I think when you're looking at a bunch of guys in a defense that all can play zone, it makes it easier for an individual to play zone. I think if everybody's playing man in a defense, that doesn't help you at all when you're out there playing man.
Okay. So 414. I don't know if you're streaming us or not on X or YouTube. or Instagram Live. We're on Facebook at The Fan Milwaukee. He's going back and forth with me. Authors of that draft guide are tweeting out how great of a pick it is. So which is it? Go on there and read what it says. I am not making up everything. Let me read it again. Weaknesses. Cisse doesn't have an enormous amount of snaps under his belt, which occasionally shows itself when he's in zone coverage. Struggles to recognize route combinations. That's not good. Where he should be when teammates are trying to pass off receivers. Hasn't been a major playmaker, intercepting just 2 passes and breaking up just 10 more in 3 seasons of college football. Cisse struggles to track the football in the air and isn't always able to contest when he should. Right now, Cisse is a better athlete than he is a football player. Hold on. Let me continue how he fits. This again, Green Bay Draft Guide, right here. Woo, right here. I'm not making it up, 414. Cisse is a little light for what Green Bay has wanted at the cornerback position in the past, especially being that he's a relatively tall cornerback. He's a young player with a lot of athletic ability, so in that way, he might catch the eye of Brian Gutekunst. With that said, he'll miss that weight threshold and profiles more as a man corner than a zone corner. The Packers appear headed towards a heavy zone defense under their new coordinator. Again, I'm reading it word for word, and what they wrote, or whoever wrote it in the Green Bay Football Draft Guide, I don't know if it was Jacob Westendorf, Jacob Morley, whoever wrote this tells me this isn't something that's going to happen overnight.
No.
Athletically, he's great. Great, good tackler, they say. All of that is good. Extensive experience in both the slot and on the outside. That's good. Happy. Even in the strengths, his traits lend themselves well to man coverage. Again, as I said to John Kuhn when we just had him on, if they play man to man, okay. If it's zone, I have questions, and we think it's zone. But Gannon hasn't talked to the media, so we still don't know.
Has said nothing. And I think you go back through, I'm on Jacob Morley's Twitter account. Yes, he's hyping up Cisse. At the same time, right before they drafted Cisse, he also tweeted, I'd sign up for 3 years of McCoy so fast your head would spin, talking about Jermod McCoy. Before that, Peter Bukowski tweeted, it would not be crazy for the Packers to say screw it and just take Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Jacob Morley quote tweets that and goes, I mean, yeah, he's really good. So they just wanted cornerback. They wanted defensive back. It probably didn't matter who that guy was.
But that was a safety. McNeil Warren's a safety.
But he's a guy that probably was going to end up being more of a slot guy. I think we saw that with some of these players earlier in the draft too. A lot of these players that are playing safety, when they're playing down in the box and manning up against players, they look really good doing that too. I think that's something that they're looking at here and saying, yes, he says safety now, but we can transition that if given the opportunity, because he's that good of an athlete. Like we're talking about with Cisse here, he's just a good athlete. I think that's what these guys wanted, was a cornerback and an athlete.
Yeah. I think everybody was going to applaud any corner they took. It does not matter who the corner is.
As long as my name next to my name it said cornerback, people would cheer for it, man.
Right. Now, again, best available list, if you go and look, this was not out of range for them to take him. This was not a reach pick if you go and follow all of these best available. All I'm trying to help you with, and again, I'm not telling you I've watched 1 million hours of film on this kid. I haven't. I'm just reading the draft guide that I trust, that we used last year on this show and was pretty damn good. So again, we'll see how this plays out. I hope he's a stud. I hope he's a Pro Bowler for years to come. I hope it all works out. They definitely needed one. And odds are this will not be the last cornerback they take between today and tomorrow. Now they're going to have another pick coming up here in this round as well, the 3rd round, which is where we are now with the Cardinals on the clock. Now, the Packers in this one pick 20 picks in. So they're at 84. They're actually in front of the Bears, who are at pick 25. But the Bears traded out of that last pick with the Titans. So they'll actually be pick 5 in this round because they traded out of the 2nd round with their 2nd pick.
Number 20 on ESPN's big board right now. Yeah, you guys can make fun of me, whatever. I don't care. Dominique Orge, defensive tackle, Iowa State.
Fine, I'm good with that.
That'd be a really nice pick.
Yes.
Big Citrus. He's the guy everybody's fallen in love with throughout the draft process.
Yes.
Bring him in, fill another need right away. That would be really cool.
I'd be fine with that if they ended up going that direction for sure. All right, take a quick time out. Continue on. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show. Again, our thanks to John Kuhn for joining us from Pittsburgh. He'll be announcing the Packers' 3rd round pick as well. Catch him on 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff weekdays here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Green Bay Football Draft Show brought to you by Steam Fitters, Local 601, Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steamfitter 601, keepers of the craft. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky and Charlie with you.
It is my esteemed pleasure to make this second-round pick on behalf of Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, and the millions of Packer fans across the world. With the 52nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Brandon Cisse, defensive back, South Carolina.
All right. That was the pick made by John Kuhn earlier tonight, right there at the NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. Of course, catch him weekday mornings, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitter 601, keepers of the craft. I read you the Green Bay Football Draft Guide, right? I now got something sent to me about Bob McGinn's write-up of Brandon Cisse as well. So I will read that to you momentarily. Let me get you caught up on the draft. Carson Beck, the senior quarterback who's like 40, out of Miami. He goes to the Cardinals, and Mike LaFleur at 1 in this round, pick number 65. Tyler
Onyedem.
Sure. From Texas A&M, the defensive tackle goes to Denver at 2. Kieran Crawford, the edge from Auburn, goes to the Raiders at 3 this round, pick 67. Eagles pick is in, Bears on deck at pick 69. And again, the Green Bay Packers' next selection will be pick 84. So we're a ways away from that. You didn't like the Carson Beck pick, is that right?
I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think I look at the Cardinals and what they're doing this season. You need a placeholder quarterback with the first pick of the third round when you have other positions to attack. We could have gone defensive line, which I think they need a lot of help in, especially in the middle with defensive tackle. When they take a defensive tackle, the Broncos right after you, makes it sting a little bit more. You got 3 backup level quarterbacks on your roster right now. Yep. Let one of them take the punches for this season and don't waste a pick on a guy that's going to be fighting with 3 backups to start even. And then when he does eventually get to start, if he's not the long-term option, then you just wasted a third-round pick on a team where you could have gone anywhere with your pick, really.
I don't know. I I understand what you're saying with all the quarterbacks they have, and you're just looking for stopgaps. Mike LaFleur must think that they can win with this guy long-term to take him potentially here in the third round. This is kind of similar to Tennessee with Malik Willis, where they didn't take him in the first round. They gave him that much time, and then when they had the chance to take Levis in the first pick overall, they bailed, went to Levis. That was a mistake. And then, hey, but come back again with Cam Ward. But the lesson to be learned there about Tennessee is you don't wait to see if you can fix somebody if you don't think you can, because you took them 1 overall or in the first round. You bail, and then you come back and you get Cam Ward. So, again, from Arizona's standpoint, if this doesn't work out, third-round pick for Beck, so be it. I'll go get another quarterback next year in the first round if I don't like what I see.
And what I get out of Michael LaFleur, too, is he was just with L.A., a system that a couple of years ago drafted Stetson Bennett out of Georgia.
Right.
Carson Beck spent the first 4 years of his career at Georgia in the same kind of system. I think that Michael LaFleur just looks at what he had in L.A. and says, I was able to figure out how to kind of get Stetson Bennett to be at least a backup level quarterback. I think I can do that with Carson Beck since he's coming from the same type of offense.
Yeah, potentially. All right, so here's Bob McGinn from GoLongTD.com. Him and Ty Dunn do a great job there. Brandon Cisse, South Carolina, third-year junior, won't turn 21 until July. He's a first one, Scout said. Quote, he's got real quick feet. He's on his coverage. He's hard to separate from. He covers all over the place. If he gets beat, he can catch up. He's what you're looking for. He's got real quickness. He's better than Avion Terrell. He's more physical. He's meaner. End quote from that scout. Played for North Carolina State, serving as the dime back in 23, playing 9 games in 24, started 12 times for the Gamecocks in 25. He's a football junkie, said a second scout. Quote, more of a cover guy than a run support guy, but he can run, and he's got pretty decent cover skills. Finished with 65 tackles, 2 picks, 10 passes defended, 1 forced fumble in his career. Quote, if DBs don't have 4 or 5 career picks, I'm starting to worry about them, said a third scout. Were they in man the whole time? I'm pretty sure they weren't. They should have more picks than that, end quote. Posted a vertical jump of 41 and a broad jump of 10-11. Arms were 30 3/4. Quote, I like his size and his speed, but I feel much better about Cisse if he was a second-round pick, said a fourth scout. He'll hit, but he just doesn't make plays on the ball, end quote. 3-star recruit from Sumter, South Carolina in track. He ran 100 meters in 11.12, 200 meters in 22.09. Said a fifth scout, quote, he reminds me of Reek Woolen kind of guy. He presses and he can turn and run. In other coverage stuff, I don't think he knows what he's doing. He doesn't have great instincts or anticipation. The movement's not there in space. He's physical sometimes, and other times he's kind of shying away. He can't catch at all. Ball skills are terrible, end quote. Now, that last scouting report feels like the person that wrote the scouting report on him in the draft guide that we read.
I don't like hearing that
it seems like everybody's in on this dude as a man guy.
I just don't like hearing that he's a football junkie. He's a guy who's constantly working on his game, but still will get lost in coverage, will still not be able to catch the ball. Like if he's that much of a junkie, he's working on his game that much and he's still not getting better, that does not excite me about his ability to progress as a player, even at the NFL level with NFL coaching. All of that kind of worries me a little bit more. Again, they seem really excited about the type of athlete that he is, that he's going to go out there and give you 100%.
Right.
Just if his 100% isn't good enough to be an NFL starting cornerback like the Packers need out of the second round pick, that worries me a lot.
Bears just take Sam Roosh, the tight end out of Stanford. I know this, that the Jacob Morleys and the Eli Berkovitz of the world love this dude. Absolutely love this
Except
dude.
for the Bears.
They were gushing on this dude. I'm guessing Cole Kmet is gone.
That's would be my guess, that they're either going to cut him or trade him. At the same time, right now you have two tight ends on your roster, as is before you trade Cole Kmet, before you move on from him, both of which one is being paid a ton, and the other one was a first-round pick last year. That, I don't know, kind of feels like a waste of a pick to me.
Sam Roche, 6'6", 267 is how big this dude is from Stanford. And again, he's not easy to tackle, I don't think, all of the time. Definitely more difficult to tackle than Luke Musgrave for the Packers. I don't know. It'll be fun to see what the Bears do. And obviously they like the tight end and they like doing that. But what you're seeing here is, I think Ben Johnson going, I see two tight end formations, and let's see what you do with Loveland and this guy.
Well, and again, especially since Cole Kmet just finished that season as a complete non-factor for the Chicago Bears, I think that's what they get worried about, that they can maybe move on from a big contract there.
They just showed a highlight. This dude broke like 3 tackles inside the 5.
But they also showed one before that where, yes, he gets open after the fact and rolls with his quarterback, which I think was really cool, but his initial route was awful. So that worries me a little bit for a team where, again, the Bears need guys to start getting open earlier for a Caleb Williams who waits in the pocket.
That is true. He tends to hold the ball and tap the ball a whole bunch. In other news, some good news for the Brewers.
Another 3-2. Pitch number 8 of the at-bat. And Bowers on the ground, up the middle, and there it is. This is the way. Keep the helmets on. Bowers delivers.
So there you go. Bowers breaks up the no-hitter from Paul Skeens, which thank God that happened. Very, very happy about that. 4-0 right now. Pirates on top of the Milwaukee Brewers. Woodruff, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned. A couple of walks, 3 Ks, and a homer allowed to Connor Griffin, of course, his first homer of his Major League Baseball career. Shane Drone comes in, 2 2/3, 3 hits, 1 run earned, no walks, and 1 strikeout so far for the Brewers. So top of 8, 4-0 Pirates against the Brewers at American Family Field. I would love to tell you that I am surprised that this is happening, but I am not.
I think like every good thing that's happened while we've had the network going here, Sparky hasn't been here before. And I think every bad thing that's happened, Sparky's been here before. Every single time,
pretty much
without fail.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, the Micah Parsons deal, Sparky's on vacation and spends the rest of his vacation day on the phone doing all kinds of stuff to get the Micah Parsons stuff out there. So yeah, that definitely is true. That is a very, very good read of the room by you. All right. So let's go back and talk more about where we're at in this draft as we currently sit. So again, the last pick, Romello Height, Texas Tech edge rusher, senior, goes to the Niners at pick 70. And we're still a good ways away from the Packers at pick 84, 14 picks. But I feel like these picks have been kind of going off the board within about 3 to 4 minutes of each other. Does that seem about right?
Yeah, they've been flying. Basically, whenever a guy is walking off the stage, you see the tickers change and it says pick is in right away, like almost immediately. Washington's taking a really long time on this pick right now. So some of these teams have been stretching it out a little bit more, especially if guys are getting taken that they wanted ahead of them. But for the most part, these teams know what they want and are getting what they want, it seems like.
Interesting stuff. The Brewers have a couple of runners on, the Pirates, I should say. The Pirates have a couple of runners on right now against Shane Drowan, second and third right now. And here comes Griffin. Oh boy, that's not going to be good. It's not. I don't have a good feeling about that. Take a quick time out. We'll come back, continue on talking more about the draft, and we'll start talking about who might be there for the Packers at their pick. That's all coming up straight ahead here on the Green Bay Football Draft Show. Again, brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitter 601, keepers of the craft. Don't forget, after the last pitch, you'll make the switch. The Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show, the franchise, Tim Allen and myself. Also, will be broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It is the Green Bay Football Draft Show, powered by Steve Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601, keepers of the craft. Brandon Cisse is your cornerback for the Green Bay Packers in the second round. What will they do coming up here in the third round? Let's get you updated on what's going on there. Again, the Packers here in the third round. By the way, see Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie using with you. Packers pick at 84. So they are about 11 picks or so away. Bengals pick is in, and they select Tacario Davis from Washington. He's a long drink of water. Yeah, he's like 6'3", 6'4". How big is he? 6'3", 7'8". See, look at me. I know. I've done enough of these damn mock drafts to have a good idea. So 6'3", 7'8", but again, not 190. What is he, like 178? 194. So he would have fit the weight category for the Packers.
I think at that tall, though, I want 200 plus, like 200, 205.
Yeah, I mean, again, I like him myself. But again, I don't know how he is in zone versus man-to-man and all those fun things that we talk about here. It looks like he's playing a lot of man-to-man as I'm watching this. He's got good hands too. We're not going to compare. I don't want to compare him. I'm just
You're going to get jealous.
No, I don't want to compare him. Let's go back to the last pick. Sam Rouge, the tight end from Stanford, was the pick by the Bears at 69. Romello Height, the edge from Texas Tech, goes to the Niners at 70. Antonio Williams, the wide receiver from Clemson, goes to the Commanders at pick 71. Then Tacario Davis from the cornerback from Washington to the Bengals at pick 72. And now here come the Saints at number 73. And then the Browns on the board again. I know this seems like a Cleveland Browns show. I understand that, but I am telling you, the Browns have done a really, really good job with this draft so far. Like, of everybody that has drafted, I think I like theirs the best. Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle from Utah.
Actually, I think the Browns just traded out of that pick. The Giants are on the clock at 74.
Giants have done fairly well too, if we're being honest. Casey Concepcion, the wide receiver from Texas A&M. Denzel Boston, the wide receiver from Washington, should have been a first-round pick. They get him in the second round. Then they come back and get McNeil Warren, the safety from Toledo, in the second round as well. They've done a really, really good job here. You said they traded out of the third round?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if it's fully out. They haven't said the details yet.
They don't have a fourth-round pick. So if they're out of the third round, they have picks in the fifth. Actually, right now I'm looking. See what that trade is, because as I'm looking at ESPN, they don't even have them as have a third round anymore. They have they have 4 fifth-round picks, does Cleveland.
Yeah, the details haven't come up on Twitter yet at all, but it looks like they've just traded completely out. Yeah.
I'm looking at the fifth round for them. They have the 6th pick in the 5th, the 8th pick in the 5th, the 9th pick in the 5th, and the 12th pick in the 5th.
I don't know, like the way that the Eagles traded for Jonathan Grenard, I feel like you could trade 4 fifth-round picks and get a serviceable to good NFL player already. Like, if that's what they wanted to do, especially since they've already made a ton of picks in the first couple of rounds of this draft, maybe you could go and get some veterans with those fifth-round picks if that's what their plan is.
Now, the Giants are making their pick here at pick 74. You said they moved into this pick, correct?
Correct, yep.
No. The Saints just made the pick, and then the Giants are up now. The Giants made into this pick, though. The Giants moved up. They got 74 from the Browns from 105, 145, and a 4th-round pick in 2027.
Yeah, that's a kind of a big haul for a 3rd-round pick. I'm very surprised by that. At the same time, again, this is just smart play by the Browns. You've made a ton of picks already. That pick is not going to be as valuable to you as it is to maybe a Giants team that is looking to kind of full rebuild on some of these spots. It feels like we're getting a lot of good stuff coming out of Cleveland. Does that make you feel any better about Jimmy Haslam in Milwaukee, Sparky?
I'm looking for anything I got. Oscar Delp, tight end from Georgia, at pick 73 to the Saints. Oscar Delp to the Saints.
So it seems like Delp was a guy that the Browns may have wanted. So that was part of the reason they traded out that pick.
Giants get Malachi Fields, a wide receiver from Notre Dame, who probably a bunch of you know who he is at this point because it's Notre Dame after all. So let's look at that Giants draft class right now. After that pick of Malachi Fields, they got Arvell Reese, who's a great pick, linebacker, super raw. and super talented. Francis Maiwagoa, however you say his name, offensive tackle from Miami. He's really good. That's a good offensive tackle. Colton Hood, good corner out of Tennessee. And now Malachi Fields. Everybody wanted to fire Joe Schoen. This seems like a pretty good draft. Now, in fairness, is John Harbaugh behind this, or is he doing this on his own? I have no idea, but Schoen is the GM, so we'll give him credit.
It feels like a lot of these picks that he's going with feel like John Harbaugh picks more so. I mean, Maui Goa was supposed to be one of those players that was going to the Giants. Like, no matter what, he was projected to the Giants throughout this entire draft process. Arvell Reese, again, was just a surprising pick. He wasn't supposed to be there at 5, so they had to go and make that trade or pick. And now they have freedom with some of these other players that they have. We talked about Kayvon Thibodeau being on the trade block now. I mean, this gives them a lot of freedom moving forward. And now you got a wide receiver that I think a lot of people were talking about in the second round, potentially falling to you at number 10 in the third.
Best available right now. Dolphins are on the clock at pick 75. Jamal McCoy is still there.
That's got it crazy, man. Well, and apparently the biggest concern right now, again, going back to ESPN's draft board, is just saying that there's still concern he won't play this year.
So what?
If he's not going to play in
comp
2026.
Is Christian Gonzalez, I don't care.
If he's not going to play for 2 straight seasons, though, who says he's going to make it to that comp?
I guess, but oh man,
that's 2 seasons of not playing football, man.
But I didn't have him in 25. He was in college. Ain't my deal as a Packers.
Still, though, that's still 2 straight years of not playing.
I don't know, man. If you're rebuilding, like if I'm the Dolphins, why not take a swing? See what happens. Why not? Best on the board right now, obviously, is him. Then Zachariah Branch, wide receiver from Georgia. Chris Brazil, the wide receiver, the second from Tennessee, who they had in. Pregnon is still there from Oregon.
Those are the 2 big ones to me that I'm surprised by.
Keontae Scott is still there, the corner from Miami. Jennings Dunker from Iowa, the offensive tackle who's going to play guard. I like him. A.J. Halsey, the safety from LSU. No, won't take him. Hey, man, Xavier Harris from Ole Miss is still there, man.
That would be a really interesting pick.
For those of you that weren't listening, he is 6'8", 330 pounds.
He just
raise your hands and see if anybody can throw it over the top of your hands at quarterback. Like, let's see if you can throw it over the top of me, because I'm going to just swat balls down while I got 3 guys trying to hold me back.
He just seems like, being that big, going to be a 2-play-a-drive type of guy. Like, he's going to get tired if you leave him out there for longer than 4 or 5 plays. That's something that I think deters a lot of teams. But for a team like the Green Bay Packers, that's just what you need. You just need a big guy who's going to fill some gaps for 4 plays during a drive. I don't know. You could definitely take a gamble on that.
This says, again, the write-up here, although he consistently draws attention up front, he would benefit from playing with more consistent aggression and refining his hand usage, but his rare size, which will intrigue teams to maximize his full potential. And again, that's where you turn to Michael Parsons and go, please work with him. And let's make sure that we're
Javon Hargrave is more the name that I would say.
Yep. There's another one that you could absolutely look at and go, okay, do something here. Now, again, Potawatomi Sportsbook, a baseball post-game show with the franchise, Tim Allen, and myself is coming up after the last pitch. You always make the switch. 6-0 currently. Pirates over the Brewers. 2 outs. Top of 9. So that game is getting close to wrapping up. The Brewers have 1 hit and 2 errors. Nice. David Hamilton with an error. Jake Bowers with an error. Jake Bowers with the only hit of the baseball game off of Paul Skeens to this point. The good news is Skeens left after 7. 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, no walks for Skeens. So that at least is good. So in the 9th, you definitely don't have Skeens. The problem is they didn't get a hit off of the guy Montgomery out of the bullpen either.
I was going to say, I don't know. I think I may rather have Skeens tired in the 9th than a fresh bullpen coming out.
No. I don't care how tired Skeens is. I don't want Skeens in the game. We can be done with Paul Skeens. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, fine, whatever. Look, they're not winning the game, obviously. I'm well aware of that. Now they walk Brian Reynolds. I'm well aware they're not winning, down 6-0 or whatever the case may be. But, something would be nice here at the end.
Literally
one way
anything.
Or the other. Yeah, anything.
Anything, man.
Anything. Any type of momentum.
2 singles I'd be happy with at this rate.
You get emotionally crushed yesterday against Scoobel, and then you come back here and lay an egg. And again, a lot of teams are going to lay an egg against Paul Skeens throughout the year. But you didn't want to do it at home necessarily.
No.
Right?
No, definitely not at home.
No, you didn't want to have to do it at home. And it's Green Bay football draft show powered by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters keepers of the craft. We are getting closer to the Green Bay Packers pick here in the third round. Caleb Douglas, wide receiver from Texas Tech. Don't know him. Went to the Dolphins at pick 75. So now we're coming up on pick 76, which will be the Steelers. Packers
It's the night football teams get better.
The 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers.
It's the night fans get excited about their team's future.
The Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback.
Presented by the Keepers of the Craft, Steamfitters Local 601. Learn to be one at steam601.org. Let's get to the hosts of the show, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and Charlie Usen.
All right, welcome in. The Brewers game is over. However, the Packers made a trade and moved up while we were away and made a selection. What was the trade, first of all, before we get to that?
So the Green Bay Packers traded pick number 83 and 160 for the Buccaneers pick 77.
Okay. So the Packers, then you have that already from Kuhn. The Packers, you can play it. Packers then did this.
With the 77th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Chris McClellan, defensive tackle, Missouri.
So, Chris McClellan. So I go over to my Green Bay draft guide to go see what they think of Chris McClellan. As you can see, I'm not making this up. Here is the list that they have on the Green Bay draft guide. Mm-hmm. They have 35 guys listed. Brewers lost 6-0. We'll get to that. Tim Allen I'll pot Tim Allen up before we get to Brewers. Tim Allen, interior defensive lineman. They have 35 listed. Where do you think the Packers' third-round pick is listed?
On 35 D tackles.
Yeah, in the Green Bay draft guide that I use, it is Jacob Morley, Westendorf, Paul Brettel, all those guys. Yeah.
Okay, they moved up 6 spots. They gave up 2 picks to move up 6, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 19th.
19th in the third round. That wouldn't be good. Charlie, what say you?
I'm gonna say, since you're so angry about this, probably 33.
No,
I'm gonna go with that low.
No, not that low.
Okay.
16th ranked defensive tackle on the board.
That's not bad.
Okay, I was
really
in the ballpark.
Yeah. Let's talk about who's gone. Caden McDonald, the first guy, is gone. Peter Woods is gone. Lee Hunter is gone. Christian Miller is gone. Caleb Banks is gone. That's 5. That's all. Those are the only players off the board at defensive tackle. You could have picked anywhere between 6 and 16, according to this draft guide, would have been a better selection. But I digress. Let's find out what we have in Mr. Chris McClellan, and then we'll get to the Brewers' loss with the franchise, Tim Allen. McClellan is 6'4", 313. That's a big dude.
Ooh.
48 tackles last year, 8 tackle for losses, 6 sacks, and 2 pass breakups. McClellan, a well-built, versatile interior defensive lineman who affects the game against both the run and the pass. Strength and finesse game to be a true threat on any defensive line. Advantage of long arms, very important, Tim Allen, which he uses to take control of reps and keep blockers from getting into his chest.
Wingspan.
Yes. Does a good job keeping control and driving linemen back into the pocket with his bull rush. He gets underneath their pads. He can take them along for a ride.
This kid's a fighter.
Yes. McClellan is quick and has a good short area burst. This allows him to cover multiple gaps and even stretch laterally on some outside run plays. Also, cross the face of a guard with speed on his way into the backfield. McClellan is a sound and reliable tackler. When he has the opportunity to bring the ball carrier down, he usually does so. Just helped by his long reach.
Can he play outfield?
He's a playmaker on the defensive front in the run game, stopping guys for negative or short gains. Weaknesses. He can lose grip with the ground against double teams. His base can be stronger, so he's not moved off his spot in those situations. Can be helped with sitting in his stance too much. He has a tendency to pop straight up on the snap of the ball, which makes him lose all leverage. McClellan can improve shedding blocks, and when he doesn't win at the initial point of contact, he can tend to get stuck on blocks and be removed from the play. Has the requisite tools to counter, so it's a matter of working on breaking linemen's control. McClellan should look to use his hands more often and consistently, because when he does, he's very hard to deal with. How he fits. McClellan's lack of agility is something worth keeping an eye on, as the Packers have typically valued that for almost any position they target in the draft. McClellan wasn't the most agile at his pro day, but does have an interesting enough skill set should the Packers be willing to overlook their preferred model. Like most defensive tackles, McClellan will likely need some time to adjust to the NFL level.
Sounds like you like him.
No.
Do you like the Packers draft overall so far?
No. But again, it's not like I
Banner
watched,
night in Wisconsin.
But no, listen. To be fair, like I didn't watch Cisse, the cornerback. They didn't reach for him. He was there on the board. That made sense. This one here, I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Like he wasn't. I don't think he was even close. I didn't read his name at all on the best players available list.
10th in defensive tackles on ESPN's board,
so,
109th overall, 66th grade.
Based on this, he could have went in the 4th round, more than likely. But either way,
6 more picks, they could have gotten him, right?
Yes. Well, obviously they thought somebody was going to draft him. I don't know. Either way, but they got a corner they needed. They got a defensive tackle that they needed, right? So they filled 2 holes on the second day of the draft. So now tomorrow, let's see what they come up with tomorrow.
It's just 2 holes with 2 guys that aren't the most exciting out of all the guys that we wanted or were available. It's a little frustrating in that realm, but at the same time, you can't be mad because it's 2 guys that you needed.
One out of 3 is not bad. I mean, the Brewers lost. You don't like the Packer draft. John Kuhn was amazing.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
And he was looking good, too. Absolutely. Zachariah Branch out of Georgia, the wide receiver, just went to the Falcons. That'll do it for the Green Bay Draft Show, brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more about great careers and a great future at steam601.org. Steam Fitters 601. Keepers of the craft. Thanks to Charlie Usen for rolling with me for the last 7 hours that we've been doing this bad boy between Wisconsin Sports Daily, the leadoff show, and now the draft show, a marathon run similar to what you did last year on draft night for day 1.
It was a lot of fun. I like doing this.
Last year you did 2 to 11 straight through because you and Tommy did the first round of the draft.
I did. That was brutal. I walked out of here and fell asleep the moment I got home.
So I don't know. Not much I can do about that, but that'll take care of it for that. With that being said, it's time to do this.